For more than 40 years, Boston Scientific has relied on our spirit of relentless innovation to advance science for life. We have the privilege and responsibility to deliver higher quality, less invasive, and more accessible device solutions, and the need has never been greater. Boston Scientific technologies are used to treat roughly 30 million patients around the world each year. Across our business, our products are supported by vast clinical data, including bench testing, randomized controlled trials, and ongoing real-world evidence to ensure the highest quality products make it into the hands of our customers. And we're always looking for ways to provide even more effective therapies and solutions. We invest over $1 billion annually in research and development to sustain a robust pipeline of meaningful innovations. We continuously strengthen our manufacturing and operations capabilities with artificial intelligence and advanced microelectronics to create devices that are smaller and smarter. And we're collaborating with our medical partners and physicians to advance digital capabilities with remote device support and a broad scope of training and education programs. Advancing science for life is also about supporting our employees and the communities in which we operate. Now more than ever, we rely on our values to guide our company as a global business and as a global corporate citizen. We're working to help confront healthcare inequities and social injustice, not only with financial contributions, but through volunteer service, advocacy, and expanding market accessibility. We're also focused on environmental initiatives that move us towards our goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2030. The unmet needs are great, but the future of healthcare is bright. Our innovation centers provide a place to explore opportunities, examine solutions, and see what lies ahead for medicine. Together, we can continue the relentless pursuit of innovation to help everyone live longer, healthier lives and make a difference all over the world.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Selamat bertemu kembali dalam Kolokium STEM Pulau Pinang tahun 2021 bagi hari yang kedua. Yang dibacakan terus daripada channel YouTube Penang Digital Movers mendapat kerjasama University Science Malaysia dan ditaja oleh pihak Boston Scientific. Terima kasih atas kesetiaan para penonton sekalian untuk terus bersama-sama dengan kami. Indah bermalam si awan petang berarak di celah pepohon ara. Pemanis kalam selamat datang awal bismillah pembuka bicara. Mencari timba si anak dara di bawah sarang burung tempua. Salam sembah pembuka bicara, selamat datang untuk semua. Saya ucapkan selamat datang pada semua untuk menyaksikan Kolokium STEM Pulau Pinang bagi hari yang kedua yang bertemakan Inovasi, Pembelajaran dan Pemudahcaraan bermakna melalui Pengupayaan Digital Tools. Sidang penonton yang dikasihi sekalian, saya mengharapkan sidang penonton berada dalam keadaan sihat sejahtera dan kita semua dijauhkan daripada COVID-19 dan perkara-perkara yang tidak diingini. Inilah peluang keemasan kita untuk berkongsi ilmu, meningkatkan kompetensi agar kita terus up to date seiring dengan perkembangan semasa. Okay, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, sidang penonton yang saya hormati sekalian, pada petang ini kita akan berpeluang untuk berkongsi ilmu daripada 6 orang pembentang yang hebat daripada rakan strategik kita, iaitu Universiti Sains Malaysia. Mereka terdiri daripada pembentang pertama Profesor MADYA Dr. AZIDAH Abu ZIDEN, kemudian yang keduanya Dr. Jahan binti Ahmad, Dr. Rohaya binti Abdullah, Dr. Siti Zuraidah binti Md Osman, Dr. Mohd Norawi bin Ali, dan yang terakhirnya Dr. Nur Asniza binti Ishaq. Jadi semoga kita semua beroleh manfaat daripada kesemua pembentangan yang hebat pada hari ini. Teruskan menonton dan bersiaran bersama kami hingga ke akhirnya. Saya silakan tuan-tuan dan puan untuk mengikuti sesi pembentangan pada petang ini. Terima kasih. Selamat menonton.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a good day to everybody. First of all, I would like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to present in the STEM KolokIUM Pinang. Right, my name is AZIDAH Abu ZIDEN. I am Deputy Director in the Center for Development of Academic Excellence USM. And for this session, I would like to talk about augmented reality in STEM, whereby we are looking at our research, which is the effectiveness of NutriCards apps on students' science achievement and motivation. Let me just review about augmented reality, especially augmented reality in education. Okay, so what is actually augmented reality? Augmented reality is a technology that lets people to superimpose digital content, which are images, sounds, text, over a real world environment. Usually we use markers, which is we use some images, we might be using sounds or text, and then we use our smartphones to actually try to superimpose maybe the images at the back, and then when we scan we can see various videos, simulation, and so on. All right, so we are looking at trying to match a real world environment, okay, and then we try to enhance the real life by using interactive digital components. All right, so mostly we rely on smartphones, all right, to show the digitally augmented world, and then rely on the AR application. All right, there are various AR applications out there in the internet. Then we can actually use existing AR application to produce digital overlays. So by using the digital overlays, we can actually superimposing images, all right, and then we layered it with digital information or 3D models, all right, and then we can also add real-time directions, yeah, to the augmented reality, meaning that we can actually locate, okay, put location directions to our augmented reality models or images or videos and so on. We can also insert labels to our AR, okay, we can also change colors, and also we can do we can also alter the use, okay, change the user or the environment appearance, okay, via filters on Instagram, Snapchat, or other apps, meaning that we can do various things in augmented reality, okay, and we can actually try to match the our normal environment, and we can actually match it with digital environments, okay. All right, so there are two types of augmented reality. whereby we are looking at a fully immersive VR experience. Okay, so we can actually sometimes, you know, it is mistakenly the VR experience is mistakenly considered as AR, whereby actually the fully immersed VR experience can be the experience in fully immersive VR experience is different from the non-immersive AR experience. So the right photo here, we can see that this is the fully immersive VR experience, whereby we are looking at using certain devices, all right, maybe glasses, okay, a 3D glasses or a VR glass, whereby when we we wear the glasses, then we are actually being fully immersed in the environment. So we are actually in a different place within a digital place, and then there are certain environment designed so that it enhance whatever we have in the real environment. And if if you have seen movies and so on, this usually been actually adapted and adopted in movies. However, in education, we might haven't seen this technology that much in Malaysia. Okay, and the other one, non-immersive AR experience, which is here, all right, on the left, all right, often overlooked as virtual reality. Okay, this is not virtual reality, okay, because it is commonly used in our everyday life. Okay, for example, if you have been using playing games like Pokemon Go, yeah, it is a non-immersive AR experience, whereby, you know, I did play Pokemon Go a few years back, and then when we play Pokemon Go, when we scan to a Pokestop, or we can see the Pokemon suddenly appear somewhere in our home, for example, or in a garden, for example. So we can see that the Pokemon will appear anywhere. Sometimes it can jump on ourselves, and we feel like, you know, the Pokemon will actually touching us. So that is non-immersive AR experience using our smartphone. So this is the non-immersive AR experience actually provide us with computer-generated environment, but allow the user to stay aware and keep control of their physical environment, meaning that we are here in our own usual environment, but there are certain ways, certain technology advancement that make us feel somebody or something being added to our real environment. Okay, so I would like to discuss about our research. Okay, we had done a research for augmented reality in science for Form 2 students. All right, so for this study, what we had done was we had actually look at the. Okay, let me just go back a little bit. All right, so in the research, we had done an AR research for a science subject for Form 2, and then we were using existing AR features in Form 2 science textbook. All right, so meaning that actually in the AR in the science textbooks Form 2, okay, and various textbooks, yeah, in Malaysia, there are existing features integrated in the textbook, but it was not fully utilized by teachers as well as for the students. All right, and then to actually get to know how much that the teachers had actually used the existing AR feature in the textbook, we conducted preliminary interviews to the teachers. Okay, and then what we found that some of them had never tried the AR QR code in the textbook. All right, so many of them mentioned about they don't know how to use it, or they don't bother to actually explore the QR code in the textbooks. All right, so we also done some interviews with the students, and they were mentioning about not exposed to the QR code in the AR, okay, at all through, although the features are there in the textbook. Some of the students said, we've tried, but we don't know, all right, how to use it, or because the teachers, they don't use it, they just ignore about the existence of the AR in the textbook. All right. So what we did was we had done a quasi-experimental research whereby we used the AR, the existing AR features in the textbooks, and also we have actually designed a new AR intervention, all right, based on the topics that with AR features in textbooks, and we customize another design of AR to match with the existing AR in the textbook. All right, so this new intervention we actually conduct in 2 schools, all right, in Malaysia. All right, so these are the images from the science textbooks, all right, from 2 science textbook with AR feature. This is actually the cover of the textbook, and then there are some information, all right, in one of the pages at the earlier page of the textbook, so whereby there are some instruction on how to use the AR in the science textbooks for Form 2. All right, and then they have to actually download an apps, okay, AR text for the AR textbooks. Okay, the apps is here on the right side, whereby this can be used for Malaysian textbooks, all right, primary and secondary school. So we have to download, okay, and install, and the AR apps for Malaysian textbooks is available in the App Store, iOS, as well as the Play Store. All right, okay, so these are the topics, all right, that includes QR scanner, all right, for within the science textbooks Form 2, okay, and then this is the samples of how the animation can be done. So there will be, if the students or the students or the teachers had actually scanned the QR code, they will be able to see how the animation of the food processes, okay, when people eat, what happened, and then it goes down and so on. All right, so this is the purpose of getting the AR in the textbook, which is actually very good. Okay, and then these are the ways of using, how the students and the teachers, right, there is a panduan here, okay, how to actually scan the AR for animation, 3D animation, and interactive games. Yeah, all right, so these are the way they can scan the QR code. There are some steps on doing that, all right, and then this is the image that they have to scan. All right, so in the scan, in the AR textbooks, yeah, in the Form 2 science textbooks, the non-immersive AR, augmented reality, is being used. So what happened was, we are looking at first the markers, penanda. So we have to actually, in the textbook, actually there are markers whereby students and teacher need to mark with images. Okay, sorry. With the images, and then from the images which appear in the textbook, okay, then we can actually scan the images. When we scan the images, we can actually see the 3D outputs from the textbook. So the 3D simulation will appear in the students or the teachers' smartphone. So this is how the process of non-immersive augmented reality in the Form 2 textbooks. All right, so we actually tried to do some intervention. Okay, we found that the AR in the textbook is quite interesting. However, we think that it can be enhanced in terms of the design on how the students can use the textbooks. All right, so we had actually developed what we call new 3 cards. Okay, it is new 3 AR, and then card D. So it is actually new 3 cards whereby we are looking at 11 learning cards, all right, whereby the learning cards, the 11 learning cards becomes the AR markers for the topic of digestive system for Form 2 science, all right. So the new 3 card contain markers for the AR textbooks, all right. So each of the cards contain markers. So when the students or the teacher scan the cards, they will be able to see the AR image or simulation in their handphones. All right, so we use it for AR textbook as well as using ZEPA application. All right, the NutriCard design process, we have actually look at the themes, learning approaches, and then we try to detail out the contents of the topic involved so that, you know, we can actually produce a very systematic way of teaching and learning using AR. Okay, and then we conducted this research during the pandemic COVID-19, whereby all the approaches using the learning cards have been done through mobile learning, which is we use Telegram to deliver all the research approaches. Okay, and then the content in each of the learning card is determined and arranged in the storyboard so that, you know, during the process we make it clearer, we make it clear to ourselves, the designer, that, you know, the process is arranged systematically, and it can be actually help the teachers, assist the teachers as well as the learners in terms of how to manage the process of looking at the augmented reality using NutriCard. All right. We also include user manuals to teachers. All right, so that they can use. They will know how to use the ZEPA apps as well as how to use it to using the 11 learning cards. All right. So all these design and development process have been actually reviewed by experts. Okay, they have 2 experts had evaluate the NutriCards, and then they have proposed some modification and so on, and then we had actually improved to improve the prototype so that it can be used effectively during our intervention. Okay, so we had done a quasi-experimental research, which is one will be one group, one control group, control group will be using the science textbooks, and the experimental group will be using ZEPA with Nutri cards, 11 Nutri cards. All right. The research objective is to look at whether students' motivation and achievement have significantly increased while they were using, after they have used the AR in the textbook, as well as when after they have been using the ZEPA for within the Nutri cards. Okay, so we are looking at AR in textbook versus Nutri card. Okay, so in the AR textbooks, we are looking at using the existing AR in the science textbooks. All right, so no amended task for the student. It is just using the usual AR in the science textbooks. 35 students were included in the 4 weeks intervention. All right, so and then the school that use ER textbooks is different from the school that using the Nutri card using the ZEPA apps. All right, so for Nutri card, the process will be based on individual cards that can be scanned using ZEPA apps. Okay, there were 34 students, all right, with the similar 44 weeks intervention. Okay, so this is from different schools. So we tried to actually we had used 2 different schools so that to reduce contamination of data. So the first school won't know that the other school is using ZEPA or using the textbooks. All right, so all right, so overall findings for our research. Okay, so for both control and treatment groups, there are significant difference in terms of student achievement in their pre and post test in the topic. Meaning that for the overall findings of this research, we found that for both control and treatment group, there are significant difference in terms of student achievement in their pre and post test. That's mean for both group, we found that there are increment of the student achievement. So in both group, there are the student the AR have actually impacted the student achievement whereby everybody have actually have significant difference. They have successfully increased their achievement in the topic. And then we also see that there are also significant increment of students' motivation in both groups, meaning that when they use AR textbook as well as the AR using ZEPA, we found that both groups already have they seems to be much more motivated to learn. Okay, so this is a really important findings in our research. Okay. We also found that there is a significant difference on students' achievement, okay, between control and treatment group, whereby treatment group shows higher achievement compared to the control group, meaning that the group with that were using ZEPA application and the Nutri cards shows higher achievement compared to the control group, which were using the textbooks, AR in the textbook. All right, there is also a significant difference on student motivation, all right, between control and treatment group, whereby treatment group show higher motivation compared to the control group, meaning that also people who are using, students who were using ZEPA and NutriCards shows higher motivation compared to students who use AR in the textbook. So there is also a significant difference between students' motivation and achievement when using AR textbooks and NutriCard. So meaning that this finding shows that when students have motivation to learn using AR apps in both AR textbooks and NutriCards, their achievement will also increase. Okay, these are very important findings, meaning that AR has actually motivate students toward their achievement in the in the topic, in the science topic. All right. So from our data, we found that 80% of the students, they have not been AR in the textbooks, meaning that although the AR features are there in the textbooks, only 20% have been using the AR in the textbooks. All right, so very minimum students that have been using the AR textbook. And then all of the respondents never been using ZEPA before. Okay, so this was their first time using ZEPA for learning via augmented reality. Okay, and then our findings also shows that student motivation based on Keller's ARCS theory, 1985. Their motivation have the AR have positive impact on student motivation, whereby we found that their attention, okay, the AR actually make their attention higher towards learning. It is relevant towards their learning, and they feel that they were more confident in their learning. Also, they were satisfied with their learning using AR. Okay, so we found that because of this, okay, their motivation increased in learning using AR. Okay, we also found that student achievement, all right, from the data, and also we conducted interview with the student. All right, they found that because they learn from the AR apps, okay, they receive higher achievement when using AR. Okay, so that's why their achievement is higher, because they don't have to imagine. They can see how the process of science occurs using the AR apps, okay, in their smartphones. All right, so and then in AR, students have been empowered for their learning, meaning that they can try and try again, so that they will understand the process in the science topic. So we had actually empowered students for their own learning. So implication of the findings, all right. So from our findings, we found that it is very important for us to optimize AR in Malaysian textbooks. All right, it is already there. The textbooks already include the AR features. Why don't we optimize AR? The AR that has been implemented in our textbooks. All right, it is important for us to optimize and use the AR features in the textbooks, as well as we might actually need to add more chapters with AR component, okay, so that it will benefit the student. Our students are digital natives, whereby they need this digital component for them to learn, okay, to be able to immerse in their learning, because they were born in the digital world. So this might help them in terms of learning. Okay. And then, although we have the AR in the Malaysian textbook, we actually need to design and develop more immersive AR component in for teaching and learning in school. So I don't think it is enough of the AR in the Malaysian textbook. We might want to design and develop using certain guidelines, okay, how actually AR can be used, can be actually implemented within the school syllabi. All right. So, and then we also need teachers with AR skills. Okay, we need our teachers to be more exposed to AR. Okay, that's why if the teachers are not exposed to the use of AR, they won't be able to optimize the AR in the existing AR in the Malaysian textbooks. All right. So, and then we need teachers to be trained, okay, to use the AR in the textbooks, or to develop their own AR for their own teaching and learning. Okay, so from my presentation just now, we feel that our research had contributed to the new digital learning in STEM, whereby it is important for us educators to look at the AR features, okay, to use AR so that our student will benefit in terms of their motivation. They are much more motivated to learn because they can see how the AR shows the what we cannot shows in a textbook, written textbooks. All right. So the motivation, the students' motivation has increased, their achievement has increased. So it is important for us to ponder and look at the potential of AR in our teaching and learning. With that, I would like to say thank you. And my email is azidah@usm.my if you have any question. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. I hope everyone is in the best of health. The title of my sharing is Engineering Design Process, EDP in STEM Education. I hope my sharing can give some insights and perspective about integrating EDP in STEM education. Sometimes in the classroom when we ask our students, they might give us some bad ideas or wild ideas. The question is, bad ideas can do harm rather than good? Or how do we take our student ideas in the class? So please watch the next video.
Thank you for your time and welcome to our focus group. Today we're going to show you an idea and ask for your opinion. This is called a wheel. Now, according to its developers, it'll change the way we work and live. Why? Because it rolls. It can also be added to wagons to make moving a heavy load easier. Your opinions?
If it rolls, that means it could roll away and get lost, right? Or it could roll over your foot. It's the round shape that disturbs me. It's very feminine. I can't imagine any caveman wanting to be seen with that.
I wouldn't.
And this added to wagons thing, it sounds very complicated. Is there an easier version?
You know what?
Do you have it in square?
No square.
If there was a square one,
Yeah.
it didn't roll. Then maybe I would think about buying one. Nice try. The wheel.
So from the video, we can see that some of the ideas don't make sense, okay, but it's kind of funny, okay. So when we ask our students to discuss in the class, okay, so we give them a problem-based activity or a scenario, okay, and we ask them, what is the problem that needs to be solved? Okay, who has the problems that need to be solved? And we might ask them, why is the problem important to be solved? Okay, so this is just the examples that we ask our students in the class. Okay, there are lots of famous invention in the world. If you look at the photo, it is one example of a very famous invention by Joseph Strauss, the Golden Bridge in San Francisco. You can see this from some of the drama and movies. Okay, and the civil engineers, okay, they design, for example, they design road, bridge, building. So they are called civil engineers. Okay, and this is a very good example of a design. This is a good one. Yeah, I think everyone know about Eiffel Tower. It's a symbol of love in Paris. Yeah, so Gustave Eiffel designed the tower that is about 81-story building, tall. Okay, and it is the tallest structure in Paris. This is the view from level 1. Okay, the structure is very unique, very beautiful. It's a really a metallic structure. Okay, so do you think all inventions are successful? Okay, no. Okay, they have to do lots of improvement. They fail, and they have to like improvise, try to improve the design. Yeah, so of course when you design something, you are susceptible to failure, and then you have to come back for solutions. Now let us compare what is science and what is engineering. So when we talk about science, science explains many things that happen in the world, okay? Like how do we get our leaf green? How do we get oxygen? Yeah. But engineering is all about doing, okay? So doing something to solve solution, okay? And engineer design a product or improve a product, okay, using EDP. So which one is more important? Okay, scientist or engineer? Okay, but if we look at it, both scientists and engineers, they contribute to world of human knowledge. It's just that they act in different ways. At school, we always train our students to be or act like scientists because scientists use scientific method to make testable explanation and predictions. Yeah, so we ask our students to conduct experiments so they can ask and answer questions. Okay, so many of the facts in science, they are testable. Okay, we can test and we can retest. And from EDP point of view, of course, as I mentioned, they create solutions to problems, and the engineer will identify who needs the invention. Okay, who are the users? What are the inventions? Why we need to do the invention, and how are we going to do it? So then they come up with the solution. STEM education is based on the idea of educating students in these 4 disciplines, which are science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and make it into interdisciplinary and applied approach. And we know in our country, STEM education is integrated into a cohesive learning paradigm based on real world applications rather than we teach these four disciplines as separate and discrete subjects. So STEM education has actually opened many paths for innovation, creativity, critical thinking, and we are hoping that when we integrate STEM education, we can train our students to be more creative, more critical. They can think out of the box, yeah. And nowadays, STEM education or STEAM education or even stream educations are being explored by many teachers and educators. Let's say you are going to apply a STEM challenge quest in the classroom. Okay, so this is an example of activity that you can ask your students to do. So give them a scenario, okay. You are a mechanical engineer who has been challenged to design a machine that can launch an object at 150 feet. Suggest how to build a prototype that you can design and develop from materials around you or cheap materials that you can buy. Okay, so what actually the kind of machine? Do you have any idea? Okay, I will tell you before the end of this presentation. What is STEM through EDP? Okay, I will explain EDP steps in later slides, but just briefly to describe, EDP is a series of steps that the engineer follow to come up with solutions to a problem. Let's say they want to design a product or probably come up with the ideas, yeah. So after they design, they have to do the repetition and the redesign process, yeah. So what we call iteration. So this is quite different with the scientific methods that we are familiar with. Okay, so when we talk about STEM in EDP, we have the content of science using technology, and we have this engineering design and also mathematics component in it. So when we look at the scientific methods, if we want to look at STEM, we are looking at observations, conducting experiments, yeah, and investigation. But if we integrate STEM education using EDP, there are certain steps that we have to follow, and I will discuss this further. Okay, why we want to integrate EDP in the classroom? Okay, there are lots of reasons. Okay, some of them are we want to promote deeper understanding of the content that we want our students to understand. We want to promote investigation and research. We want to keep them engaged, yeah, and involved in the activity. So, and another important thing is we want them to work in team and collaborate with their peers. We also want them to enhance their soft and humanistic skills, the way they communicate with their team, yeah, the way they have the feelings and empathy towards other people. And of course, it promotes reflection. Okay, when you fail or when you need to improve the product, you need to reflect, okay, from the previous method that that you have used, right? This is a comparison of scientific method and EDP. Of course, in scientific method, you ask question. In EDP, you define a problem. In scientific method, you do background checks, background research. It is done in EDP as well. Okay, and EDP, you specify requirement. What are the needs of the users? Who are the users? Yeah. And in scientific methods, you construct hypotheses, you test, you conduct experiment, you analyze your data, okay, until you communicate your results. So in EDP, after you develop the prototype, you also test, and then you also communicate your results. Yeah, there are some similarities and differences in the steps. So I'm going to use the 7th step of EDP adapted from Massachusetts department. Okay, so it has identify problem, research, sketch possible solution, select best possible solution, design and construct prototype, test and evaluate the solutions, and then communicate the results. Okay, the first steps is identify the need. As I mentioned earlier, what is the need, who has the need, why is it important to solve, and how to solve it. Once the students have identified the problem, okay, so they are going to do some research. Yeah, so they can do literature review, they can read articles, they can surf internet. Yeah, but we have to make sure that they are doing something different than the one reported from the literature. Okay, or they can extend the ideas and based from the initial ideas from their review. Yeah, for example, if let's say they want to design a solar cooker, so they have to make sure they have to probably use different materials other than the one reported from the literature, or when they do the literature review, so they figure out that yes, these are the success methods, and some other methods might not be successful. So there are many things that they got from their research. So we have to make sure that the ideas is original and unique and different from the published or the one in the literature. This is the important part where we ask our students to brainstorm. Yeah, so they have to brainstorm possible design, possible solutions. Yeah, so the best is to avoid judging the design. Okay, so let the ideas flows, and they have many options before they decide on one single solution. So these are some brainstorming guidelines. Yeah, we have to tell our students they have to focus on the quantity. Okay, they can give as many ideas as they want. Please hold any criticism. Okay, don't put down or reject other people's ideas. Okay, so we encourage all ideas, give them just imagination what they want to create. Okay, ensure that they are uh, someone like secretary to record all ideas. Yeah, and combine ideas when put it together, and please focus on the topic. Okay, don't divert to other topic. After you have decided, for example, on water, okay, then you jump to something else. And then we ask the students to sketch possible idea or solutions. Okay, for example, the solar cooker probably have to be designed in such a way that it can focus the sun rays. Yeah, and also the how is uh, the structure of the solar cooker. Okay, so ask the students to sketch their ideas. These are some possible sketches that the students might come up with. Okay, so ask them to sketch as many ideas as possible so that they can choose the best one. So after brainstorming the ideas, okay, so you ask your students to select the best possible solution, okay, and try to compare the solutions to the requirement that best meet the needs. Yeah, Also, they have to consider the cost, the time, safety, skills, resources, and it has to be aesthetics as well. Okay, for example, to make a solar powered portable cooker, so it is more versatile if it can cook more than just eggs. Yeah, but you have to look at the materials that needed. Maybe it is more expensive, or probably if you cook other than eggs, it might take some more time. Yeah, so the students have to decide. Okay, so need to compare the pros and cons. Yeah, and also need to do the analysis. After that, they can design and construct the prototype. Okay, so put everything together. Okay, when build a prototype, okay, so you have to make sure that the students understand that the prototypes, they are made from different materials. Okay, so the students can just design one best prototype, or they can build more than one prototype. Okay, so the prototypes are made from different materials. Usually it is much cheaper than the original product. Okay, and the prototype can be used to test. Yeah, and the prototype should be the operating version of the solution that they are going to make. Okay, so it is the final step of creating the product. So the prototype can be built by the available materials. Sometimes they have kits, storyboards, or technique that can help to build the solution faster with low cost. Yeah. So as I mentioned, you can make several prototypes. Yeah. So in other words, prototype is just the mock-up of the final solution. So it is not the real innovation. So try to test the prototype, re-evaluate, and improve, then retest. So usually they can test with a different team. Let's say another team also build a prototype, so they can try to compare the design. They want to test the design, yeah. And after after probably they improve the design, they can retest with the expert, okay, probably with the teachers or with the other members or professionals, yeah, or they can even test with the users. Okay, usually sometimes they want to make a competition where the judge can come and evaluate their prototype. It can be done as well. Okay, from the video, it's obvious that if you miscommunicate, it can do more harm than good. Yeah. So please make sure that you communicate well and explain to the expert to the users or to the targeted group about your new innovation or improved innovation. Okay, and this is actually the final step in EDP. Okay, so you can communicate in the form of report, you can make an exhibition, you can present, you can put it in a display board or enter competition or any combination of this method. Okay, and from your documentation, you can apply for copyright or even patent your design. Okay, according to the standards that you already fixed. And then this is also done by the professional engineers where they thoroughly documenting their solution before it is manufactured. I would like to give an example of a minds-on activity that you can try out with your students at school. So remember the challenge that I gave you earlier. Okay, so actually it is STEM catapult challenge. Okay, so you can ask your students to design a catapult to participate in a game, to launch a ping pong ball, to hit various targets. Should launch the ping pong ball in a precise and accurate way. So this is the scenario. And this is actually a good practice for your students to use EDP in their science classroom. So let me explain about the STEM Catapult Challenge. Okay, this STEM Catapult Challenge involves engineering, geometry, ratios, critical thinking, and teamwork in an engaging activity. So when the students apply this EDP, they can use it with the math skills. They can build the design with their team, okay, from common materials. And after that, you can ask the team to test at 3 stations, looking at the distance, accuracy, and power. Okay, so this activity also have follow-up maths problems for enhanced learning. So how is this activity has interdisciplinary connection? If you look at science and maths connections, students learn about catapult, they design, build, and test their own catapult. They learn about force, accuracy, precision, and angles. Okay, for engineering connections, so engineer must master the science and maths concept behind the technology before they can successfully design and build product that meets their clients' needs. The learning objective of the activity, okay, we hope that after this activity, the students should be able to employ EDP to create solution to a given problem, design and build catapult using materials found at school, explain the meaning of projectile motion, accuracy, and precision. These are some facts about catapult that the teachers should know. Okay, catapult is actually a device used to throw object over a distance. So it can be as small as rubber band, a slingshot, or it can be as large as 300 feet long steam units. Okay, so this catapult actually used to launch airplanes from aircraft, usually on the ship. Okay, and the catapults are built into the surface of a carrier's flight deck. So a tow bar on the catapult slides into a holder, then forward the wheel of an airplane. Okay, so when the catapult is activated, the tow bar pulls the airplane down and down the catapult track and releases itself at the very end of the deck to allow the airplane to fly off the ship. So the teacher also need to know the background and the concept of projectile motion. So it refers to the motion of object projected into air at an angle. Okay, like Galileo was the first person to accurately describe projectile motion when he analyzed horizontal and vertical components separately. Okay, so there are two important equations for projectile position with no friction. Okay, So this demonstrates how projectile motion can be broken down into two components and show the relationship between horizontal or vertical distance, looking at the time and the angle which the projectile motion is launched. Galileo reasoned that a projectile motion is not only influenced by one motion but two motions to create precise mathematical curve like a parabola shape. Okay, so this motion that acts vertically is the force of gravity, and this pulls the objects toward the earth at 9.8 meters per second. Okay, but while the gravity is pulling the object down, the projectile is also moving forward or horizontally at the same time. So this horizontal motion is uniform and constant according to Galileo's principle of inertia. So this is the drawing of projectile motion. Okay, after the students have designed the catapults, so probably they can test their design. So you can prepare, the teacher can prepare this 4 cardboard for the students to launch their catapult. Okay, so if you look at the top left picture, so you can see none of the shots are close to each other. Okay, and they are even not close to the bull eye. Okay, so this means that the shots are not accurate and not precise. If you look at the top right picture, okay, the shots are closer to the bull's eye, which means the accuracy is getting better, but they are not close enough, meaning that they are not precise. In the bottom left picture, okay, so the shots are close together, meaning they are precise, but they are not close to the bull's eye, so they are not accurate. And finally, the bottom right picture, all the shots are close together and hits the bull's eye. That means that they are both accurate and precise. Okay. Okay, why actually we want our students to learn this? Okay, they are not just doing a real fun activity, okay, but these are the sneak peek of what to come in the activity. So the students will design and create catapult to launch a ping pong balls. Once the catapult are built, they will play a game where they aim for targets. Okay, so they get the information, okay, and besides games, they also learn about science and maths problem. So for the content objective, yeah, after this lesson, we hope that the students can describe how force affects the motion of a projectile, explain and compare the meaning of accuracy and precision, and explain the optimum angle for launching projectile the farthest distance. Okay. This is the examples of material list. Okay, so the group needs some papers, markers, cardboard, okay, masking tape, plastic spoon, rubber band, popsicle sticks, straws, ping pong ball, okay, and cardboards, yeah, for testing. This is also another kind of materials that the students can use. They can use just the popsicles, rubber bands, plastic bottle cap, okay? And they can use a small open area or on the flat surface, yeah? So it depends on the rules and regulations of the competition. So this is the learned fact about catapult projectile. Okay, so a parabola is a symmetrical curve. So to make a projectile cover the most horizontal distance possible, so it must be launched at 45 angles. But you don't tell your students that. Okay, let them try first. They might try at 30 degree, they might try at 60 degree. So if let's say they launch greater than 45 degree, it goes higher, but it does not cover as much horizontal distance. But if let's say it is launched less than 45 degree, it will not go as high, but it will be pulled down to the ground more quicker, okay, by gravitational force. Okay, and if the horizontal distance versus the angle at which the projectile is launched was graphed, it will give a symmetrical graph, okay, as you have seen just now, okay. And also, a projectile that launched at 30 degree has the same range as launch at 60 degree. This is a workshop which I conducted with the teachers. So they have to design the catapult, okay, using pencils and rubber band. So look at the a variety of design by the teachers, okay, and it is really, really interesting. You can also ask your students to redesign using different materials. So make it fun game to the students. They can play and try to hit from different targets, okay, and they probably can hit from different distance, so you can give them points, and also you request the students to aim the catapult to be both accurate and precise, okay, in order to hit the maximum number of targets. So after the game, you can ask your students to discuss in their group. Okay, you can ask this question. Did your catapult work the way you intended? What could you change to make it better? Does your catapult launch the ping pong ball too far past the target or too far to the right or left? What could you do to fix this? So there are some questions that you can ask your students for them to reflect and improve the catapult design. So why we need to integrate EDP in our teaching and learning, okay, especially in the science classroom? There are many advantages actually. Some of it focuses on solutions by constructing prototype that drive students to encounter the process of creative and critical thinking as well as problem solving skills. Yeah. And also it allows students to realize that there are many ways to find solutions, okay, when they engage in the brainstorming activity, so they can identify more solutions, okay, and the process of finding the optimal solution based on constraint requires them to engage both in critical and problem solving skills. The students also work collaboratively with their team to plan, design, construct, and test their prototype based on their prior and new knowledge, okay, and they test the prototype with their peers, their facilitators, with their team, okay, or with the users. So and we hope that they can identify and also apply the science and maths concept, okay, not just knowing how to design using the best technology, but we also want them to apply their knowledge of science and maths. Okay, finally, using EDP in teaching and learning, it also promote out-of-the-box creative thinking. The students are encouraged to imagine, okay, and they have to understand that there is not one right answer to any problem, okay, and we want them to enhance their innovative and inventive thinking abilities, okay, especially now we have lack of STEM graduates, yeah. So we are hoping that they are going to love STEM and they are going to join STEM workforce in future. Okay. Even so, there are disadvantages of EDP also. Okay, because sometimes you need money, okay, materials, and there might not be enough human resource. Okay. Some students might not be interested to collaborate or involve in the project Okay, and it also need artistic skill, creative and critical thinking. Yeah, sometimes the quality of the design cannot be controlled because we need to clarify the design. It may take some time because there's lots of iteration. Okay, you have to keep repeating to get the best results. Okay, and when we test and retest, it's also time consuming. And please remember that the result of an EDP is not always a product. It can also be idea as well. In conclusion, we hope that by integrating EDP in teaching and learning in the classroom, we can stimulate our students' thinking. We can focus on learner-centered, open-ended and constructivist activities. We can introduce pre-engineering skills that are not typically addressed in the curriculum. So we can try probably asking our students to act like engineer. Okay. We also can expose our students to authentic engineering working environment where they can work in their team. Okay. And the most important is we can guide our students to be more adaptive in their critical thinking and also for them to engage in developing their metacognitive skills. If you like to explore EDP and would like to integrate in your classroom, you can get some materials from this website like Science Buddies, Teach Engineering and Stella STEM. Thank you so much for watching. I hope my a little bit of sharing can benefit all teachers and students as well. If you have questions, you can email me at jahan@usm.my. Okay, thank you so much. Please stay safe and take care, everyone.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera saya ucapkan kepada semua yang hadir. Dan terima kasih kerana sudi mendengar perkongsian saya pada pagi ini yang bertajuk Digital Storytelling in STEM Education. Nama saya Rohaya Abdullah dan saya merupakan pensyarah TESOL di Pusat Pengajian Ilmu Pendidikan Universiti Sains Malaysia. Jadi pada hari ini saya ingin berkongsi dengan para hadirin sekalian tentang bagaimana kita boleh menggunakan bahasa untuk mengajar konten STEM. Baik, mula-mula kita akan lihat sedikit, kita intai-intai sedikit tentang apakah objektif yang saya ingin capai untuk hari ini. Ya, yang pertama ialah what is digital storytelling ataupun apakah digital storytelling itu sendiri, apakah maksudnya. Dan yang kedua, why digital storytelling, kenapa ataupun apakah kepentingan untuk kita membuat digital storytelling. Yang ketiga, how do we turn our content into a story? So, macam mana kita nak olah ya konten kita, konten STEM kita, konten sains, konten maths, konten engineering, konten komputer dan sebagainya sebagai sebuah cerita. Right? Dan yang keempat, bagaimana kita nak jadikan cerita kita itu, how do we digitalize? Bagaimana kita nak digitalize supaya kita boleh upload sebagai MP4, kita boleh upload di YouTube dan pelajar-pelajar kita boleh akses. Baik, yang pertama sekali kita lihat kepada objektif what is digital storytelling. So kalau kita lihat di sini daripada satu definisi yang saya ambil, dia merupakan satu praktis untuk apabila kita menggunakan computer tools, right? kita ada satu cerita yang kita tulis dalam Microsoft Word, dan Microsoft Word ini kita akan gunakan insert Microsoft Word ataupun PowerPoint, right? Kita akan insert graphics, audio, video ataupun web publishing, dan kita jadikan dia one movie ataupun satu film. Alright, kita digitalize it seperti talk saya ni, so it becomes digitalized. Dia bukan lagi menjadi satu cerita yang kita baca dari kertas, helaian kertas. Baik, apakah fungsi fungsi digital storytelling ini? Baik, dia mempunyai dua fungsi kalau kita lihat di sini, iaitu yang pertama ialah ia sebagai a teaching tool, dan yang kedua ia boleh juga dijadikan sebagai learning tool. Bila kita teaching, kitalah yang akan produce the stories. We will produce the digital stories ourselves. Tetapi kalau learning, kita boleh menyuruh pelajar kita buat group work, alright, they produce the digital stories based on what we taught them. So maksudnya kalau kita sudah mengajar mereka tentang ilmu sains, katakanlah fotosintesis, so sekarang ni kita nak mereka lebih faham. So kita boleh gunakan digital story ni untuk mereka sebagai alat untuk mereka lebih memahami konten fotosintesis tersebut. Baik, sekarang kita lihat tentang kenapa kita nak buat, why do we need digital storytelling, ataupun why, what is important about it, what are the significance that we can find through digital storytelling. Jadi saya nak kongsi tentang beberapa kajian. Kajian ini panas-panas lagi tahun 2020, tahun 2019, tahun 2021. Kalau kita lihat tentang kajian yang pertama, bila kita buat digital storytelling, ini semua berkaitan dengan STEM lah ya. Dia akan increase the scientific creativity among students. Right? Dia juga boleh meningkatkan kreativiti pelajar-pelajar dalam ilmu sains. Right. Yang kalau study yang nombor 2 ni, iaitu daripada Chupko dan kawan-kawannya dalam tahun 2019, mereka they concluded that pelajar ni adalah pelajar yang mereka buat eksperimen itu adalah pelajar EFL. Saya tak dia pelajar English, right? Pelajar yang belajar English sebagai foreign language, mereka telah understanding atau pemahaman sains mereka telah meningkat, right? Pemahaman tentang integrated science and then technology, engineering and mathematics curriculum. So maksudnya pelajar ni ialah pelajar bahasa Inggeris, tetapi mereka juga mungkin mengambil subjek-subjek STEM. Jadi dengan menggunakan digital storytelling, pemahaman mereka telah meningkatlah dalam bidang sains. Baik, kajian yang seterusnya ialah dari Sari Tapesi tahun 2021. Jadi beliau telah mendapat opinions ataupun pendapat dari dalam kalangan pelajar dan juga kalangan ibu bapa, kerana ibu bapa juga turut serta dalam kajian beliau. Kajian dapatan pertama dari pelajar-pelajar, mereka mengatakan mereka mempunyai satisfaction atau kepuasan yang tinggi dalam learning process. Maksudnya semasa mereka belajar tu, semasa mereka bercerita, membuat cerita, right? Kemudian masa mereka digitalizekan the process of learning tu, it's an active learning. Dan kita tahu bahawa active learning ni memang cognition kita selalu berfikir macam mana nak buat ni, problem solving is always there. So dia telah meningkatkan, diorang rasa seronok lah, kepuasan mereka meningkat. Kemudian mak bapak mereka pula atau ibu bapa mereka pula mengatakan aktiviti yang dijalankan dalam digital storytelling DST is something that is entertaining and appealing. So menarik minat lah. Dia seronok, menarik minat. Dan lepas itu mungkin sebelum ini mereka punya attitudes ataupun motivation, attitudes di sini attitudes towards science instruction ataupun towards mata pelajaran sains ni kurang. Tapi setelah melakukan aktiviti dalam digital storytelling ini, it was found that their attitudes have changed towards science. Mungkin mereka tak suka sebelum ini. Dan dapatan kajian dari Gusoi 2021 juga mengatakan bila kita buat DST ni, dia jadi learning to becomes meaningful dan permanent. Maksudnya dia bukan belajar untuk exam. Dia faham konsep fotosintesis itu dengan mendalam sebab dia mentelaah benda tu, mungkin dia buat research lebih lagi untuk dia sampaikan. Sekarang ni dia nak sampaikan kepada orang dalam bentuk penceritaan. So bila kita nak sampaikan ilmu-ilmu bagaimana untuk menyampaikan cerita itu telah mematangkan mereka. Jadi the learning becomes more meaningful daripada kita absorb aja apa yang cikgu cakap. Right? Dan dia dikatakan they had fun and it was very motivational. Okay, yang seterusnya by Palensensia and Request tahun 2021. Kita lihat bahawa banyak kajian masih dilakukan ke atas digital storytelling. So maksudnya digital storytelling ni walaupun sudah lama tetapi masih menjadi satu tarikan, right, sebagai teaching and learning tools, right? So ni pengkaji ini menyatakan ataupun mendapati DST ni it is useful dan juga sustainable resource for learning, macam yang tadi yang di atas tadi. Dia bukan sahaja motivate tapi dia ada transmit the values, value, mungkin moral values, mungkin value the SDG, right? And then develops of course critical thinking, social skills sebab dia buat dengan kumpulan, bagaimana dia nak communicate the idea juga, right? And then it's a highly successful teaching practice tool. Okay, jadi kajian-kajian lepas telah membuktikan kepada kita bahawa kita juga boleh menggunakan digital storytelling dalam mata pelajaran STEM ataupun STEM education. Baik, yang ketiga ialah mengenai objektif saya ketiga iaitu how do we turn our content into a story. Jadi kita ni sebagai guru-guru STEM, kita ada konten yang solid. Tetapi kadang-kadang pelajar dia tak faham. Sometimes it is too complex. Jadi macam mana kita nak turn the content yang kompleks itu, kita jadikan dia satu cerita, right? Nak saya sampaikan ini sebagai teaching tool, bukan sebagai learning tool. Jadi kita sebagai guru macam mana kita nak jadikan konten kita tu sebagai satu cerita. Baik, langkah pertama adalah of course kita kena setkan fokus kita iaitu konten apa yang kita nak sampaikan dalam cerita kita itu. Mungkin satu konten yang kompleks atau ia mungkin satu konten yang kita nak pelajar faham lebih mendalam, terpulang. Okay, konten kita yang tetapkan. Kejap lagi saya akan tunjukkan konten yang saya telah buat lah untuk cerita. Baik, yang kedua ialah to set the elements of the story. So bila kita nak buat cerita, kita kena ada elemen-elemen ini. Ini elemen yang sangat minima yang saya kongsikan, yang saya buat dengan buku, dengan digital storytelling saya. Baik. Yang pertama ialah setting, sangat penting kat mana kita nak setting kita tu. Sama ada di rumah, di kelas, di kebun ataupun di playground, di mana-mana. Kemudian characters, right? Characters kita ni perlu characters yang betul-betul menjayakan cerita tersebut lah. You don't want to include any characters yang tidak penting. So perhaps you can just include 3 characters atau 4 karakter maksimum lah. Karakter sampingan mungkin ada, tetapi ini adalah characters yang utama, kan? Pelakon-pelakon utama lah kita katakan. Kemudian yang ketiga yang paling penting dalam penceritaan is the plot. Right? Plot ni maksudnya jalan cerita dia. Dan jalan cerita dia ada 5 lah. Yes, sekejap lagi saya akan tunjukkan apakah jalan cerita. Kemudian yang ketiga, kita terus tulis cerita kita. Alright? Bila kita nak sampaikan cerita kita ataupun kita buat cerita tu kena use simple language. Sebab kita nak pelajar kita faham, right, apa yang kita nak sampaikan. Jadi eloklah kita gunakan simple language. Jangan kita gunakan dahlah konsep itu merupakan konsep yang susah difahami. Tiba-tiba kita gunakan language yang ayat yang kompleks juga. Jadi tak sampai objektif kita. Baik, kita mula menulis dalam PowerPoint. Right? Saya syorkan kita tulis terus dalam PowerPoint. Setiap PowerPoint itu melambangkan ataupun represent kita punya page number lah, muka surat cerita kita. Right? Baik, sekarang saya akan cuba demonstrate bagaimana yang saya katakan 3 steps tadi untuk how do we create our story. Okay. Nombor 1 ini saya nak ajar compound eyes. Ya, saya nak hendak mengajar tentang compound eyes. Dalam compound eyes ni kita tahulah ni contoh compound eyes lah, right? So saya nak ajar pasal compound eyes sahaja dan saya nak ajar apakah fungsi compound eyes dan fungsi compound eyes sebenarnya. Okay, setting saya di herbal garden. Satu kebun nak kata kebun sayur tak juga, kebun ulam-ulaman. Alright, so saya dah setting saya. Kemudian saya pilih karakter saya. Jadi saya nak compound eyes. Compound eyes ini adalah dari kalangan arthropods. Insects, arthropods. Okay, so saya nak cerita saya tu menarik sikit. Jadi saya nak pilih yang comel-comel. Jadi saya pilih yang nombor 1 adalah ladybird, nombor 2 adalah honeybee dan yang nombor 3 adalah dragonfly. Ya. So saya ada 3 karakter utama. Ada karakter sampingan iaitu karakter mak dia. Okey. Ini yang saya katakan tentang plot. Saya tak pasti sama ada anda boleh lihat yang bawah, tapi tak mengapa. Okey, ada 5 steps ya. Yang pertama ini kita panggil tentang expository. So pembukaan cerita dia. Yang kedua kita panggil rising action. Dia mula nak start dah going up the hill. Dan yang ketiga terus climax cerita tersebut. Dan yang keempat ini dah mula menurun. Climax itu telah pun menurun apabila the falling action lah. Right? Falling action dah tak climaxnya di sini sahaja, di peak, right? And the last one, resolution, maksudnya problem atau isu telah diselesaikan. So untuk yang step pertama ataupun expository saya kata 3 insects itu, ladybird, dragonfly dan juga honeybee, mereka met friends in the garden. Maksudnya yang watak utama iaitu ladybird, dia jumpa kawan-kawan dia 2 ekor lagi tu dekat dalam garden lah, herbal garden. Kemudian bila nak di rising action ni saya nak pilih mereka nak main guessing colours. Cuba teka warna, cuba teka warna. Jadi kita tahu those arthropods dia mempunyai compound eyes, vision yang berlainan antara satu sama lain. Jadi bila mereka main game tersebut, setiap ekor dari insects tu, dia tengok satu bunga, kemudian mereka memberi jawapan yang berlainan. So bila mereka beri jawapan yang berlainan, inilah klimaksnya. Terkejut, masing-masing terkejut. Jadi bila mami ataupun watak sampingan, the wise person, iaitu mak kepada ladybird tu menerangkan tentang science facts. So di sini saya terangkan tentang compound eyes lah. Saya cerita tentang compound eyes, apa fungsi compound eyes, dan warna apa yang ladybird boleh lihat, warna apa yang honeybee boleh lihat, dan warna apa yang dragonfly boleh lihat. Ya, so itu adalah konten saya, konten tentang compound eyes, tentang sains lah, ilmu sains yang saya sampaikan, tetapi dalam bentuk yang sangat mudah, dalam bentuk yang sangat difahami, dan dalam bentuk saya rasa dia menarik minat. Okay. So yang last kali ni bila diorang dah tahu, ketiga-tiga ekor tu dah tahu tentang compound eyes dan fungsinya, mereka pun gembira, right? Kemudian gembiralah, the problem is solved, mereka gembira. Kemudian mereka pergi bermain-main lagi lah di garden tersebut. Jadi itu adalah plot cerita saya. Simple sahaja, tetapi tetap ada ilmu sains yang diterapkan. Baik, sekarang kita cuba pergi ke bagaimana kita boleh digitalize our story. Bagaimana kita boleh kalau dalam bahasa Melayu mendigitalize cerita kita tu lah. Baik, so saya ada 3 steps juga di sini, iaitu step pertama ialah to illustrate. Okay, illustrate ni bila kita buat buku cerita, especially kalau kita buat buku kepada sesiapa sahajalah, saya rasa gambar perlu ada. Ya, gambar ini akan menambahkan pemahaman pembaca atau pendengar. Alright, so saya syorkan anda lukis sendiri di kertas putih lah, kertas lukisan. Kemudian anda boleh warna dan anda boleh scan. Kemudian anda boleh edit dengan software yang dinamakan Snapseed, dan macam-macam software lagi yang free software yang anda boleh, you can get it from the internet. Ataupun kalau rasa you tak ada masa nak lukis atau you tidak ada ilmu nak lukis, therefore you boleh guna gambar-gambar yang sedia ada lah, right? Cuma bila nak mencari tu susah sedikit, it takes time, dan dia bukan original dari idea kita. But it's okay sebab you just nak sampaikan tentang content science you. Baik, bila you ambil gambar-gambar dari internet, you perlu berhati-hati tentang copyright. So sekarang ini copyright mereka boleh saman kita. So you have to be very careful. Saya ada nyatakan di sini beberapa websites that you can go to. Yang pertama ialah Free Pick, yang kedua ialah Puzzles, yang ketiga adalah Dreams Time. Kalau kita tengok dalam Free Pick, Puzzles, Dreams Time ni, ada yang percuma dan ada yang kita kena bayar macam biasalah. So ambil yang percuma. Bila kita ambil yang percuma, dia akan ada watermark di belakang lah. So tak apa sebab kita tidak akan di-compound, compound eyes di-compound, didenda, right, atau found guilty for copywriting, langgar copyright issues. Okay, so kalau nak you want to be safe, you lukislah sendiri. I'm sure you pandai lukis ataupun minta pelajar lukiskan untuk you pun boleh, anak-anak lukiskan untuk you pun boleh. Right, step nombor 2. Ini kita dah start digitalizing lah daripada Snapseed ni. Proses bila kita masukkan, gunakan computer tools. Kita dah guna dari PowerPoint tadilah. Baik, yang step nombor 2 ialah narrate. So sebab dia digital storytelling, it's storytelling. So maksud dia kita kena menceritakan. It's not just like a book. It's not just like a flip book, but you've got a narration in there. So maksudnya you kena record your voice lah. Record your voice. Baca buku tu, bila ada dialog you berlakonlah sikit, right? And then you can also include sound effects. Nak masuk, because saya punya herbal, saya punya di garden, jadi saya masuklah sedikit burung ke, bunyi chirping of the birds ke apa-apalah. Kemudian last kali ialah to convert, bila kita dah record ourselves, alright, dalam PowerPoint tadi tu, kita tak perlu tunjuk muka semasa kita record our voice. We don't need to. Sebenarnya kita tak patut pun tunjuk muka kita masa kita narrate. Tapi kalau anda rasa anda nak buat, it is entirely up to you. But I prefer kita dengar suara saja sebab kita punya fokus ialah cerita tersebut. Alright. Kemudian yang ketiga tadi, bila kita dah habis semua recordings, okay, kita terus convert PowerPoint kita itu ke MP4 file. Okay. Right, ni saya nak tunjukkan apa yang saya telah buat untuk buku saya ataupun mula-mula sekali saya masukkan dalam PowerPoint. So I have to scan, scan. Ini is a hand-drawn image lah yang saya punya karakter utama saya, Ladybird. Okay, yang ni mak dia. So bila scan, mungkin dia punya picture tu memang kan kita scan daripada lukisan. So tidak berapa sharp. Jadi guna Snapseed, okay, yang ini Snapseed ini untuk kita edit lah. Jadi dia jadi lagi terang, lagi it's not so gloomy. Alright. So ini yang saya katakan tadi, illustrate. Kemudian narrate. So narrate ni kita kena dramatize sikit lah. Jadi pelakon sikit lah. You have to have a narrator. Kemudian pelakon-pelakon yang binatang, insects tadi tu untuk baca, narrate, dramatize the dialogues yang ada. Di buku saya pun tak banyak sangat dialog, ada a few dialogues. So banyaknya ialah narration. So that is entirely up to you. You nak dialog banyak ataupun narration banyak. Tetapi jangan terlalu terlalu banyak dialog. Bila kita terlalu banyak dialog, dia dah jadi like a real drama pula. Dia dua-dua, dia digital storytelling. So I think you need to include the narration as well. Kalau tak pun minimalkan. Baik. So saya kata tadi, narrate ni dramatize, and then you can also add sound effects, sama ada masukkan semasa you tengah berlakon tu ataupun masukkan kemudian. Ni semua you can insert kemudian pun boleh. Saya rasa dengan PowerPoint, I think you need to insert kemudian. Kalau you nak insert semasa you bercerita, perhaps you have another gadget, handphone ke, and then you switch it on pasal inilah burung-burung tu sedang chirping. Okay. Baik, kita telah sampai ke step yang terakhir, iaitu untuk convert PowerPoint kita kepada MP4. Setelah kita buat recording tadi, kita akan tukar PowerPoint kita ke MP4. Kemudian kalau katakan file MP4 kita terlalu besar, maka kita bolehlah resize the file. Banyak di sana, I'm sure you know, we can just get the free softwares that can resize the size of our file kalau dia terlalu besar. Ia perlu kerana kadang-kadang kalau kita nak tunjuk or to keep, especially for storage, Kalau terlalu besar, kadang-kadang kita tak boleh share dengan students kita kalau kita nak bagi dia bawa balik or to review ataupun kita nak upload ke Google Classroom. Jadi itu gunanya untuk kita resize the file. Alright, apabila kita buat buku to digitalize using PowerPoint to MP4, one drawback is that dia tidaklah macam kita baca buku listen to a talking book, tapi because of the format. Kalau nak macam kita macam selak-selak buku begitu, maka kita kena transfer it atau convert it into a flipbook. Jadi mungkin kita boleh juga lakukan in future. Tapi untuk kali ini, kita jadikan dia MP4 dahulu. Right. Slide seterusnya, saya ingin mempersembahkan hasil dari buku penceritaan saya, digital storytelling saya, yang bertajuk Guessing Colours. Right. Presenting Guessing Colours by Rohaya writes. Guessing Colours, written by Rohaya writes, illustrated by Cot Draws. We are at Uncle Fi's green garden. Insects and birds love coming over to this garden as it provides an abundance of food for them. But to Sana, Ahmad, and Leon, this garden is special because it is the playground for the playful three. It was a Saturday morning. Sana and her mummy just arrived at the lime tree to feed on the aphids for breakfast. As they were just about to eat, Sana saw her friends coming. Feeling exhilarated, Sana nudged her mommy and said, "I'll join you later, mommy. I want to go and say hi to my friends." Before mommy could reply, Sana was gone. She was as fast as lightning. The three good friends greeted each other. "So what shall we play today?" Sana asked excitedly. "Yesterday we played hide and seek," said Leon in his cheeky tone. "And the day before yesterday we played detectives," Ahmad continued. "Aha, why don't we play with colors? Guessing colors," Sana suggested. The two other friends clapped their hands in agreement. The three friends hovered over the basil plant, focusing on the flower. Confidently, Sana answered, "I see white with patches of black." Adjusting his compound eyes, Ahmad exclaimed, "It is ultra blue." Confused by his friend's guesses, Leon opposed, "No, it's not. It's purple, light purple." They were all puzzled. "Why do we see different colors?" Sana cried anxiously. Sana brought her friends to her mommy to unravel the bewilderment. "Mommy, mommy," Sana called for her mom. "Calm down, Sana. What just happened?" asked Mommy. Mommy later found out about the incident from Sana's two friends. Sana was speechless. She was too shocked. Mommy laughed at the toddlers. "Well, you see, the omnipotent God has created us this way so that we can witness His wonderful creations and be thankful to Him. Mommy explained. All of us have compound eyes, but we are designed differently. They have their own functions. Even though our compound eyes consist of thousands of tiny photoreceptors, our visions are blurry, but we can see far and wide and detect fast movements. Sana, we ladybirds can only see the colors of gray, white, or black. Ahmad, your dynamic bee eyes can see ultra colors. Leon, dragonflies have the most vision than all of us, so I think you were able to see light purple, right? Humans like Uncle Fi see it as purple too. I overheard Uncle Fi talking with his wife about it the other day. Yes, Auntie Shima, I did see light purple, Leon acknowledged. Wow, thank you, Mommy. Now we understand. How amazing! Subhanallah, cried Sana. Now please eat your aphids, Mommy said gently to Sana. Sana obeyed her mommy, and in fact, she was a little hungry from the excitement. She ate with her friends and mommy. Leon and Ahmad brought their food too. After the delicious breakfast, the trios continued exploring the colors with other flowers in Uncle Fi's garden. They chuckled and giggled, enjoying the rest of the day. The end. Jadi begitulah sedikit sebanyak perkongsian saya tentang digital storytelling. Saya harap tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dapat sedikit manfaat daripada apa yang saya telah sampaikan. We have to be creative, right? Kadang-kadang kita dah tak tahu macam mana nak sampaikan kepada pelajar. So this can be one of the ways untuk kita juga menjadi seorang guru yang hebat. Oleh itu, terima kasih diucapkan kepada semua dan ini merupakan references saya untuk kajian-kajian yang saya telah bentangkan sebentar tadi. Sekian, terima kasih. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera para hadirin sekalian. Untuk video kali ini, saya akan membentangkan tentang reka bentuk pengajaran sinkronus dan asinkronus dan penggunaan alatan digital secara dalam talian. Saya Dr. Siti Zuraidah Md Osman daripada Pusat Pengajian Ilmu Pendidikan Universiti Sains Malaysia, yang mana saya merupakan pensyarah di dalam bidang teknologi pendidikan. Jadi untuk video kali ini, kita akan lebih kepada demonstrasi bagaimana untuk mereka bentuk pengajaran dan pembelajaran secara sinkronus dan asinkronus menggunakan alatan digital yang sesuai bagi sesi pengajaran dan pembelajaran secara dalam talian. Untuk maklumat, seterusnya kita pergi melihat kepada situasi ini di mana pelajar-pelajar berada di depan mata kita dan kita boleh nampak secara bersemuka bagaimana pelajar berinteraksi dan pelibatan di dalam kelas. Ini adalah pelajar secara berkumpulan dan ini adalah keadaan kelas kita pada waktu sebelum PKP. Tetapi apabila COVID telah melanda, ini yang berlaku di mana kita perlu melalui proses PKP, PKPB, PKPD dan PKPP. Ini telah menyebabkan di mana kita perlu menggunakan kesemua platform yang ada. Saya yakin institusi tuan-tuan dan perempuan juga mempunyai platform pembelajaran. Ada yang menggunakan Moodle dan ada juga yang menggunakan Google Classroom dan sebagainya. Tetapi di USM kita menggunakan LMS iaitu eLearn at USM. Kemudian ini adalah yang berlaku di mana sebelum ini kita memberi kuliah secara bersemuka di dalam kelas. Namun sekarang kita perlu memberi kuliah secara bersemuka secara dalam talian. iaitu kita menggunakan segala platform yang ada, terutamanya sebagai contoh Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Webex dan sebagainya. Melihat kepada apakah masalah yang berlaku apabila pensyarah mereka bentuk sesi pengajaran. Ada kebanyakan daripada pensyarah cuma memberi syarahan ataupun lecture di dalam Webex ataupun platform Zoom secara bersemuka di dalam talian. So masalah yang berlaku adalah pelajar-pelajar menghadapi masalah internet yang mana mereka tidak boleh untuk menerangkan ataupun membuka video, mendengar, kadang-kadang tidak boleh melihat slide disebabkan oleh talian internet yang sangat lemah. Okey, jadi apa yang boleh dibuat adalah kita boleh blended learning, iaitu di mana terdapat dua bahagian. Ini adalah secara sinkronus di mana teachers led learning in class or virtually. Kita bersemuka bersama pelajar-pelajar secara dalam talian atau di dalam kelas. Okey. Jadi dia tidak semestinya berlaku dalam kelas, boleh juga di dalam talian yang mana kita bersemuka nampak face to face ataupun kita bersemuka secara teks iaitu WhatsApp ataupun kita bersemuka secara call, video call, audio call dan sebagainya. Okey. Seterusnya ini adalah asynchronous learning di mana kita blendedkan synchronous tadi dan asynchronous untuk sesi pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Okey, digital learning self-guided or assigned. Bermaksud kita memberi task ataupun apa-apa saja bahan untuk mereka melihat sendiri bahan tersebut dan melengkapkan tugasan-tugasan yang diberikan tanpa kehadiran pensyarah. Namun para pelajar masih lagi boleh bertanya kepada pensyarah untuk melengkapkan aktiviti atau tugasan yang diberikan. Okey, seterusnya kita lihat kepada demonstrasi reka bentuk pengajaran pembelajaran iaitu profil pelajar yang pertama, kemudian reka bentuk pengajaran, bahan pengajaran yang akan digunakan, kemudian kita masuk pula kepada reka bentuk instruksi pengajaran. Okey. Jadi di sini apa yang pertama sekali diperlukan adalah profil pelajar. Profil pelajar adalah soalan-soalan yang kita kemukakan kepada pelajar-pelajar kesemuanya mengenai apakah maklumat internet pelajar tersebut. Sebagai contoh, kita boleh bertanyakan di manakah lokasi mereka belajar sekarang, sama ada di rumah ataupun di universiti ataupun di tempat yang mempunyai wifi. Yang kedua, berkemungkinan kita boleh bertanya mengenai masalah talian internet mereka. Adakah speed yang tinggi, average ataupun rendah? Okey, jadi itulah antara soalan yang kita bertanyakan dan salah satu daripadanya juga adalah apakah device ataupun alatan yang digunakan semasa sesi pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Okey, sekiranya kita lihat majoriti daripada pelajar kita menggunakan telefon. Adakah sesuai menggunakan telefon untuk mengajar topik tersebut? Adakah sesuai menggunakan telefon untuk menjawab ataupun melengkapkan aktiviti yang kita berikan? Okey, jadi kesemua itu perlu dilihat sama ada di awal semester, mingguan ataupun bulanan. Sekiranya kita tidak mengambil kira masalah internet pelajar, ia akan menjadi masalah kepada penglibatan pelajar. Kita tak tahu apa yang berlaku di sebalik skrin pelajar-pelajar kita. Jadi ini sangat penting. Okey, profil pelajar. Setelah kita dapat profil pelajar, barulah kita boleh merancang atau mereka bentuk pengajaran kita dengan lebih efektif supaya pelajar-pelajar dapat terlibat secara langsung dengan aktiviti pembelajaran dan pengajaran secara dalam talian. Dan juga kita dapat merancang adakah gabungan pengajaran dan pembelajaran secara asinkronus dan sinkronus lebih efektif terhadap pengajaran pelajar. Okey, jadi inilah peri pentingnya pembelajaran secara sinkronus dan asinkronus dapat dirancang oleh pensyarah. Kerana perancangan adalah daripada pensyarah atau pendidik. Pelaksana adalah pelajar-pelajar. Jadi kita perlu merancang dengan teliti agar proses pengajaran dan pembelajaran berlaku dengan efektif. Okey, seterusnya kita akan pergi kepada demonstrasi reka bentuk pengajaran. Okey, jadi sekarang kita teruskan kepada demonstrasi macam mana kita nak mereka bentuk okey, bahan instruksi pengajaran secara sinkronus dan asinkronus. Okey, jadi ini adalah template yang mana tuan-puan boleh download ataupun scan QR code pada video yang sebelum ini dan kita boleh buat bersama-sama reka bentuk bahan instruksi pengajaran secara sinkronus dan asinkronus. Okey, jadi saya pasti tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang pertama sekali telah pun menyediakan rancangan pengajaran terlebih dahulu berkaitan sama ada secara harian ataupun secara semester. Okey, jadi perancangan bahan instruksi pengajaran ini adalah mudah sahaja yang mana fokus utama kita adalah kepada aktiviti dan bahan pengajaran. Okey, yang mana platform dan juga bahan teknologi yang kita gunakan agar pelajar-pelajar boleh melibatkan diri secara aktif di dalam aktiviti dan bahan pengajaran yang kita sediakan melalui platform-platform yang kita telah upload ataupun muat naik bahan-bahan tersebut. Jadi ini juga pendekatan, apa pendekatan yang kita akan gunakan. Okey, jadi saya akan tunjukkan secara satu persatu bagaimana untuk kita mereka bentuk bahan instruksi pengajaran secara dalam talian untuk sinkronus dan asinkronus. Tetapi kita jangan limitkan hanya secara dalam talian kerana saya telah terangkan sebelum ini, sinkronus dan asinkronus boleh berlaku secara dalam talian ataupun bersemuka. Okey, jadi sekiranya secara bersemuka, template ini masih lagi boleh digunakan. Okey, jadi yang pertama sekali jangan dilupakan setiap minggu sekiranya boleh kita cuba dapatkan profil pelajar. Kita cuma berikan short survey sahaja untuk pelajar tersebut supaya pelajar boleh memberikan informasi kepada kita. Okey, di mana kita boleh blended learning-kan sistem pendidikan di Malaysia. Bukan sahaja di institusi pengajian tinggi tetapi juga di sekolah rendah dan menengah. Okey, jadi itu yang kita akan cuba buat pada hari ini. So demonstrasi yang pertama adalah, yang pertama sekali, saya dah sediakan satu contoh. Saya rasa tuan-tuan dan puan-puan boleh buat sendirilah pada masa dan waktu yang terluang yang mana boleh digunakan sebelum sesi semester bermula. Bagi yang dah bermula sesi pengajaran, masih juga boleh menggunakan template ini. Okey, maksudnya kita start dengan minggu pengajaran tersebut. Okey, tetapi jangan lupa profil pelajar kita. Kerana itu sangat penting. Yang mana kita perlu tahu masalah ataupun kehendak pelajar terhadap pembelajaran secara online. Okey, kita tak boleh tengok kehendak kita sahajalah. Okey, kita kena tengok kehendak pelajar. Kerana pelajar yang akan belajar secara dalam talian objektif. Okey, tapi sekiranya tuan-puan tidak mahu meletakkan objektif pun tidak ada masalah. Okey, sebab objektif ni kadang-kadang ada yang objektif pembelajaran adalah pada waktu ketika itu atau dia tidak masukkan. Dia just nak tengok topik. Okey, tapi letakkan objektif lebih baiklah. Okey, jadi di sini masukkan dahulu minggu, topik dan juga objektif. Contoh minggu 10, objektif adalah to design 5-minute instructional video using storyboard. Satu saja objektif untuk sesi pengajaran. Jadi copy dan paste daripada rancangan pengajaran yang tuan-puan dah sediakan. Okey, seterusnya kita masuk pula kepada aktiviti dan bahan pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Okey, tuan-puan boleh masukkan di sini apakah platform digunakan. Contoh sepanjang masa saya upload semua bahan di dalam e-learn. Okey, supaya pelajar ada satu tempat. Okey, one stop center lah kita panggil. Walaupun kita guna WhatsApp, kita guna blank space, kita guna pelbagai lagi platform. Tapi kita ada satu tempat penyimpanan yang mana pelajar boleh buka dan tengok. Okey, so ini antaranya. Sekiranya tak ada, tidak ada masalah. Apa pun bergantung kepada kreativiti. Sebab kita sebagai pendidik ni perlu kreatif dalam mencorak atau mereka bentuk aktiviti dan bahan pengajaran. Okey, untuk sesi demonstrasi alatan atau bahan pengajaran yang kita boleh gunakan, yang pertama sekali adalah pergi kepada Google dan type di situ 300 learning tool. Okey, so 300 learning tool dan enter. Okay, di sini kita ada top tools for learning 2021. Okey, jadi kita boleh klik di sini. Okey, ini adalah platform survey yang telah dipublish, iaitu untuk kali ke-15 secara tahunan. Jadi sudah lamalah dia buat survey dan ini adalah yang terkini 1 September 2020. So yang pertama sekali kita ada di sini adalah top 300. Kalau tengok di sini YouTube adalah yang pertama. Okey, saya besarkan sikit. Okey, jadi YouTube adalah yang pertama sekali. Kerana apa? Kerana sekarang kesemua, bukan sahaja pendidik, tapi untuk mencari rezeki ataupun income generation pun kita guna YouTube. Okey, jadi dia adalah yang pertama sekali. Okey, di mana video lecture, kadang-kadang student diberi tugasan menggunakan YouTube dan sebagainya. Okey, bagaimana untuk kita explore bahan-bahan ini? Pertama sekali klik pada bahan tersebut. Okey, dan di bahan tersebut kita akan nampak iaitu dia beritahu website. So ada link. Kemudian kita ada course free. Dan dia adalah online, tak boleh offline. Maksudnya tak ada internet, tak boleh buka. And then di sini juga diberi overall ranking. Kalau kita tengoklah ranking YouTube ni pada tahun 2007, 22. Masa ni tak ada siapa pun nak gunakan YouTube. Tak ramai lah. 22, jauh sekali. Sekarang start 2016, kita dah pun menggunakan YouTube. Masa 2016 pun dah banyak buat blended learning, flip learning. Jadi kebanyakannya menggunakan video lecture. Jadi dia dah jadi nombor 1. Namun dia masih tetap di awal ranking kerana COVID pula. So kita boleh tengoklah comment, tools, description untuk kita gunakan di dalam kelas pengajaran. Adakah sesuai? Kalau kita tengok YouTube, yang sesuai adalah asynchronous. Iaitu bukan secara bersemuka. Kita buat video lecture, beri kepada pelajar, pelajar akan tengok pada bila-bila masa. And then kalau kita beri aktiviti pun, pelajar buat bahan masuk dalam YouTube dan mereka komen dalam YouTube. Jadi boleh tengoklah dan explore. Seterusnya kita tengok balik kepada Zoom. Zoom adalah platform untuk synchronous. Synchronous maksudnya video conferencing lah. Macam contohnya kita guna Webex, Google Meet dan sebagainya. Kalau kita buka kepada Zoom, kita dapati bahawa Zoom ini adalah platform meeting. Dia beritahu description dan free dan juga premium. So maksudnya free tu adalah beberapa feature sahaja. Kalau kita nak advance, mesti premium kena belilah. Boleh baca dahulu. Dan ada dia punya website. Boleh klik dan dia mesti online. Jadi Zoom adalah antara platform untuk kita berjumpa secara synchronous. Seterusnya Google Search. Ini yang paling digemari. Jadi once kita Google akan keluar bahan tersebut. Namun kita perlu guide pelajar-pelajar. Adakah mereka tahu cara nak guna Google? Macam mana nak copy and paste academically supaya mereka tidak plagiat. Adakah bahan yang mereka lihat itu betul atau salah? Jadi we as the expert, pakar kita perlu facilitate our student. Jadi kalau guna google.com, sama ada secara synchronous, maksudnya di dalam kelas kita tunjukkan cara. Ataupun kita buat satu video lecture menggunakan Google. Itu asynchronous. Kita perlu mendidik pelajar-pelajar. Kalau suruh mereka Google entertainment, saya rasa tak ada masalah, tak perlu ajar. Tapi bila suruh Google berkaitan dengan education, mereka akan jadi blank, blur. Jadi apa yang perlu kita buat adalah kita perlu tunjukkan a surface, how, bagaimana mereka boleh mencari bahan yang betul, yang tepat, yang sahih di dalam Google. Orang suka tertanya baca Google. Tak tahu apa-apa, just Google. So jadi kita boleh rancang, alat Google kita guna untuk aktiviti. We want our student to Google up bahan-bahan untuk mereka present. And then mereka dah ada bahan, bukannya baca bahan saja. Kita nak dia ambil ke semua bahan dan jadikan satu bentuk presentation yang menarik. So kita boleh gunakanlah. Next kita ada yang seterusnya. Banyak lagi lah di sini. PowerPoint, LinkedIn, Twitter, Wikipedia. Sangat tinggi. Wikipedia dulu, zaman dahulu memang tidak tepat. Kita boleh edit dan sebagainya. Tapi sekarang Orang yang edit pun adalah mereka yang sangat berpendidikan tinggi. Okay, kadang-kadang boleh dipercayai, but ada yang tidak boleh. Jadi dia bukan sumber rujukan terbaik lah kerana boleh berubah-ubah. Okay, WhatsApp yang ke-10, ini always kita guna. Saya berkomunikasi dengan pelajar secara sinkronus menggunakan WhatsApp. Okay, mereka lebih aktif dengan chat. Okay, keyboard warrior. Tangan mereka sangat pantas berbanding mulut mereka secara lisan. Okay, kalau kita tanya soalan di dalam WhatsApp, semua menjawab dengan pantas, laju, dengan idea yang bernas. Dia jawab menggunakan audio, hantar audio, ini kita dengar. Okay, so kita boleh maksudnya pelbagaikan. Itu adalah sinkronus. Kadang-kadang kita bagi satu topik, okay, saya nak awak jawab dalam tempoh 2 hari. Okay, beri link. Okay, dia beri link saja, dia masukkan bahan dalam Google Drive, and dia beri link, kita tengok dia punya hasil kerja. Okay, ini kita ada banyak lagi lah team collaboration platform, graphic tools, klik Canva. Okay, kita boleh beri pada pelajar untuk buat apa-apa saja aktiviti menggunakan Canva. Pelajar boleh explore dan menghasilkan bahan yang sangat cantik. Okay, kita tak perlu takut untuk mereka menggunakan teknologi. Pelajar kita tak akan ambil masa yang lama untuk menggunakan teknologi. Once they have expert, tak ada masalah. Tapi akan ada masalah untuk pelajar semester pertama lah. Kalau pada saya, pelajar SEM1 sangat bermasalah kerana ada pelajar yang tak ada telefon pun semasa di sekolah. Tak pernah tengok telefon, tak pernah tengok YouTube, tak pernah Google, tak tahu nak Google macam mana. Ada. Tapi masih adalah sekarang ini. Tapi bila masuk universiti, mereka terpaksa diberikan telefon, bapa beri telefon dan sebagainya. Jadi mereka dah bermula dan pada pertengahan sehingga akhir semester, mereka tidak ada masalah dah. Okay, itu yang kita kena buat. Maksudnya kita beritahu mereka secara surface. Okay, jadi kalau guna Kahoot, kita klik Kahoot. Okay, Kahoot pun nombor ke-18. Okay, di sini pun ada description. Kita boleh pergi kepada website. Dan kita boleh explore secara surface. And then give this website. Bagi website ini kepada pelajar, pelajar akan explore. Kita minta dia buat satu latihan ataupun quiz. Berdasarkan material yang kita berikan, create a quiz using Kahoot. Next class kita akan main bersama-sama. Okay, itu antara contoh-contoh lah. Apakah bahan digital yang kita boleh gunakan untuk mereka bentuk kita punya pengajaran. Okay, ada banyak lagi kita boleh explore. Email client, kita ada project Teams tool, Padlet. Okay, and then kita ada Camtasia untuk record. So dia dah beri dah di sini. Okay, brief description. Jadi kita boleh tengok brief description dulu. Kemudian kita boleh klik and then kita boleh pergi kepada website. Okay, saya tunjuk Mentimeter, free and premium. So free ada, kita guna yang free. Okay, klik mentimeter.com. Okay, daripada sini kita pun boleh tengok macam mana nak guna Mentimeter. Ambil yang free, sign up dulu. Okay, sign up very simple. Okay, ataupun kita pergi kepada Google, how to use Mentimeter. Okay, so sangat banyak video, klik video. Okay, so dia ada beri. Create your first Mentimeter presentation. How to use Mentimeter in remote session. How to create your first Mentimeter presentation. Ada banyak demonstration one by one. Okay, sekiranya kita tidak tahu. Tapi kadang-kadang di sini pun dia ada video macam mana nak guna Mentimeter. Okay, dah ada banyak lah yang diberikan di sini. Okay, kalau tengok pricing pun, okay, klik pricing dia ada free. Free nampaklah di sini. Unlimited audience, maksudnya siapa pun boleh tengok. Unlimited presentation, okay, up to 2 question slide. Tapi soalan hanya 2 slide sahaja. And then up to 5 quiz slide. So ada sikit sahajalah. Okay, kita nak present banyak kali pun tak apa. Tapi dia punya slide dan juga quiz slide limited. Okay, so di sini kita boleh tengok. Okay, jadi dan kita boleh tengok macam mana nak guna Mentimeter, apakah kebaikan dia, Google sahaja. Okay, jadi saya cadangkan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan boleh tengok kepada top 300 tools. Okay, dan tengok apakah yang kita boleh guna untuk pelajar-pelajar terlibat secara aktif untuk kita rancang sinkronus dan asinkronus. Okey, jadi sekarang kita teruskan semula dengan template perancangan bahan instruksi pengajaran secara sinkronus dan asinkronus. Okey, jadi tadi saya dah pun tunjukkan yang mana kita akan masukkan minggu, topik dan juga objektif. Okey, setelah itu kita akan rujuk kepada aktiviti dan bahan pengajaran yang mana apakah platform utama. Sekiranya tidak ada, tuan-puan tidak perlu masukkan. Okey, template ini bukannya standardized ataupun standard. Tuan-puan boleh mengubah mengikut template masing-masing sekiranya ada. Okey, apapun kita kena catatkan perancangan kita terlebih dahulu agar memudahkan kita untuk mencari alat tersebut dan memudahkan kita untuk menyediakan bahan dan aktiviti pembelajaran tersebut. Kalau sekiranya kita tidak mencatat atau membuat perancangan seperti ini, berkemungkinan kita akan our motivation will be down. Okey, motivasi kita akan berkurang yang mana kita tidak tahu apakah bahan dia. Baru nak explore satu persatu dan sebagainya. So agak susah lah. Okay, kadang-kadang kita terfikir apa kita nak buat tapi apa bahan dia. Jadi kita baru nak explore website ni, website itu dan sebagainya. Tapi kalau dalam minda kita dah ada perancangan, kita dah biasa dengan alat tersebut atau kita baru nak guna, tak ada masalah, kita boleh try and error dahulu. Okay, sebab teknologi is about try and error. Dan kita kena dapatkan feedback daripada pelajar ataupun profil pelajar tersebut. Okay, kita tidak boleh shot sendirilah ataupun kita upload bahan, pelajar akan belajar sendiri. Okay, kalau sekolah rendah, ibu bapa yang akan mengajar anak mereka. Okay, tak boleh lah. Sebab ibu bapa kadang-kadang mungkin mereka tidak tahu konten tetapi mereka expert dalam bidang teknologi. Jadi kita gunakan platform yang sesuai beserta bahan-bahan yang sesuai. Ibu bapa mungkin boleh bantu dari aspek penggunaan teknologi tersebut, penggunaan bahan tersebut. Tetapi bukan konten ataupun aktiviti yang ibu bapa perlu buat. Okay, pelajar anak-anak mereka boleh buat. Cuma mungkin ibu bapa perlu buka ataupun perlu minta anak-anak mereka untuk sekarang jawab kuis ni. Menggunakan alat ini. So ibu bapa tolong bukakan. Sekarang tengok video, cikgu dah buat video. So ibu bapa akan onkan video. Tapi bukanlah ibu bapa yang mengajar satu persatu. Sekiranya ada masalah, ibu bapa akan masukkan soalan dalam mungkin dalam borang feedback kita. Ataupun mungkin dalam WhatsApp group. Kemudian cikgu-cikgu pula akan sediakan bahan untuk memberitahu maklum balas kepada masalah tersebut. Apa yang ibu bapa perlu buat? Ataupun apakah konten yang cikgu-cikgu perlu update lagi. Itulah kita kena dapatkan profil pelajar. Jadi profil pelajar sangat penting dalam kita mereka bentuk pengajaran. Kalau di sekolah ataupun di dalam secara bersemuka, para pelajar datang dan kita boleh terus melihat apa masalah pelajar. Kita boleh panggil ke depan seorang demi seorang untuk kita ajar personalized learning dengan mereka dan sebagainya. Tetapi dalam talian kita tidak mampu. Jadi kita perlu lihat profil pelajar tersebut. So aktiviti dan bahan pengajaran. Sebagai contohlah, to design 5-minute instructional video storyboard. So mereka perlu menyediakan 5 minit video. Menggunakan storyboard. Jadi kena ada satu storyboard. Jadi apa yang saya buat dalam tempoh pengajaran termasuk tutorial, kita ada 3 jam lah. Kalau ikutkan secara bersemuka selama 2 jam and then tutorial adalah 1 jam. Kesemuanya adalah bersemuka sebelum ini. Jadi kita perlu transfer kesemuanya ke dalam online. Jadi untuk sinkronus saya hanya buat sejam. Kerana kelas saya kebanyakannya bila saya tengok profil, mereka mempunyai talian internet yang average, sederhana. Itu berlaku bila saya buat online learning ataupun lecture secara online. Real time menggunakan Webex, menggunakan teleconferencing. Kebanyakan pelajar banyak yang keluar masuk. Left, and then masuk balik, left. Kita boleh nampaklah di situ pelajar left. Bukan left kerana mereka saja nak left, kerana talian internet. Kadang-kadang bila kita tanya, mereka tidak boleh jawab kerana talian internet juga. Tapi mereka boleh chatting di chat box. boleh chatting di dalam WhatsApp. Okey, jadi tuan-puan kena tengok ke semua itu. Mungkin first class kita tak nampak lagi. Okey, second class, third class kita akan nampaklah perkara tersebut dan kita akan sesuaikan dengan keperluan pelajar. Okey, jadi saya terpaksa buat dalam masa sejam atau kurang kerana kebanyakan pelajar mempunyai talian internet yang average. Average maksudnya lepas sejam akan ada problem lah. Loading lambat dan sebagainya. Okey, jadi tuan-puan kena tengok perkara tersebut. Jadi saya telah letakkan sinkronus sebanyak sejam. Okey, iaitu menggunakan pengajaran secara Webex. Pengajaran pun saya tidaklah mengajar sepenuhnya. Okey, saya cuma highlight perkara-perkara penting yang mana saya nak pelajar-pelajar ni betul-betul tahu dan fokus. Kerana kita telah pun memberi e-notes, okey, dalam bentuk PDF, mereka perlu baca untuk topik tersebut. Dan juga tutorial. Okay, slide pengajaran juga saya berikan yang secara menyeluruh. Dalam Webex kita cuma highlight perkara-perkara penting. Kalau slide yang menyeluruh, saya takut pelajar-pelajar kita tak cukup sejam. Dia biasa 2 jam lah slide kita kan, ataupun kita punya pengajaran. Jadi yang highlight yang penting-pentingnya sahaja. Okay, yang lain mungkin kita boleh buat aktiviti atau perbincangan. Untuk lihat pelajar-pelajar boleh tak faham perkara lain yang kita tak highlightkan dalam kelas secara face to face. Okay. Dan face to face pun bukannya lecture sepanjang sejam. Lecture 30 minit saja. 30 minit adalah Q&A ataupun masa untuk kita berinteraksi secara dalam talian. Apa-apa yang pelajar tidak faham. Kerana dalam WhatsApp pun kadang-kadang pelajar sangat aktif. Sangat aktif. Dia tanya soalan. Okay. Bagi saya lah, kelas saya Alhamdulillah WhatsApp tidak ada masalah. Kemudian e-notes adalah bahan pembelajaran tambahan untuk pelajar-pelajar melihat apakah bentuk-bentuk storyboard, bagaimana untuk menyediakan storyboard. Okay, mereka perlu tengok sendiri. Okay, dan mereka perlu try and error. Mengambil masa yang lama lah. Memang dalam masa seminggu sangat sesuai. Okay, jadi tempoh mereka belajar kalau ikutkan bukannya 3 jam, bukannya sejam tetapi seminggu. Tetapi seminggu pun bukannya seminggu setiap hari 2-3 jam. Tidak. Mengikut masa dan kesesuaian yang mereka rasa, oh waktu ni mereka nak buat design. Waktu lain mereka nak baca subjek lain contohnya. Okay. And then saya menggunakan kehadiran adalah dalam e-learn. Mereka akan klik kehadiran mereka. Tetapi saya plus juga dengan aktiviti yang lengkap. Okey, maksudnya mereka submit dalam e-learn juga dikira kehadiran. Tak submit maksudnya kehadiran tidak dikira. Kehadiran penuh adalah apabila mereka bukan saja menghadiri Webex tetapi juga melengkapkan aktiviti. Okey, jadi sekiranya mereka melengkapkan semua aktiviti, mereka hadir keseluruhan kelas. Kerana Webex ada yang ada masalah. Jadi kita tak bolehlah kata pelajar tu tidak hadir, tidak. Mungkin pelajar tidak dapat belajar secara talian kerana gangguan, mereka stres. Tapi selepas tersebut, mereka tengok video pengajaran kita selama sejam, mereka tengok nota, slide, okay. Kemudian mereka pun tanya di dalam WhatsApp, okay, apa-apa soalan, okay. Jadi itu tidak menjadi masalah untuk pelajar melengkapkan aktiviti walaupun mereka tidak hadir secara Webex. Jadi saya combinekan sinkronus dan asinkronus dalam pengajaran pada minggu tersebut. E-learn saya combinekan sinkronus iaitu Webex, mereka perlu klik pada waktu dan masa ditetapkan. Kehadiran mereka perlu klik pada waktu dan ditetapkan. Ini sinkronus. Okey. Tapi yang lain adalah asinkronus. Okey. Jadi seterusnya tugasan mingguan. Mereka perlu memasukkan storyboard dalam Word ke dalam platform e-learn. Okey. Jadi di sini saya kata rakaman Webex dan semua nota dimasukkan dalam e-learn dan juga WhatsApp. Kerana pelajar saya ada juga beberapa orang, bukan majoriti, yang tidak dapat membuka platform e-learn. Mereka dapat hanya membuka WhatsApp sahaja. Jadi ada juga semua nota, link saya akan masukkan dalam WhatsApp juga. Okey, contohnya bila kita nak buat sinkronus, Okey, pernah berlaku saya hendak buat Webex dan hujan turun dengan lebat. Talian internet sangat tidak membantu. Okey, jadi saya terpaksa ubah terus kepada asynchronous. Okey, jadi untuk record saya punya pengajaran, saya boleh record. Okey, waktu tersebut pelajar-pelajar tak boleh dengar. Okey, jadi record dalam 30 minit. Kemudian saya boleh post recording pada waktu tengah malam. Okey, jadi esoknya pelajar-pelajar akan lihat video tersebut dan juga melengkapkan semua aktiviti. Kemudian ada juga minggu 11 di mana saya letakkan semua secara synchronous, asynchronous. Yang mana saya masukkan video pengajaran pada YouTube tapi pada hari dan waktu tersebut. Okey, waktu kelas lah. Okey, kemudian pelajar-pelajar akan melihat video tersebut ataupun sepanjang minggu terpulang. Kita bagi flexibility kepada pelajar. Okey, sebab pelajar-pelajar ni bila online kita perlu kepada flexibility. Kemudian slide pengajaran saya masukkan juga. Slide pengajaran sangat penting. Okey, pelajar-pelajar semua minta slide. Itulah. Okey, tak apa, slide ada, kita masukkan. And then aktiviti photo collage. Okey, mereka cuma Google saja apakah photo collage yang ada di Google. Okey. So Google berapa minit saja mereka boleh Google, sangat cepat, pantas. Pelajar-pelajar kita sangat pantas. Okey, Google sangat terror lah. Okey, and then deskripsi alat pembelajaran. Okey, apakah deskripsi alat pembelajaran yang mereka tahu? Okey, so itu mereka kena tengok. Deskripsi alat pembelajaran contohnya collage, foto collage, apa dia deskripsi dia? Okey, digunakan untuk apa? Sebagai set induksi, sebagai gambaran kepada pelajar-pelajar, aktiviti pelajar. Jadi dia kena letakkan deskripsi. Ini mengambil masa. Mereka kena fikir sikit lah. Okey. Jadi foto collage pun tak banyak. Mereka perlu pilih dalam 3 foto collage untuk satu topik yang mereka nak ajar pun sekiranya tak ada sistem kehadiran. Tuan-puan tengok kepada submission ataupun penghantaran tugasan yang telah dibuat. Okey. Kemudian kita ada rakaman video. Semua nota saya masukkan dalam WhatsApp. Tugasan mingguan, alat aktiviti, Padlet. Mereka akan menggunakan Padlet dan masukkan ke dalam Padlet. Okey, so apa-apa saja alatan yang mereka nak guna, okey, aktiviti kreatif yang mereka boleh gunakan, mereka masukkan dalam Padlet. Okey, jadi ini tugasan yang terakhir lah. Okey, kerana kesemua sekali 3 jam sahaja mereka perlu completekan aktiviti. Jadi inilah synchronous dan asynchronous bila digabungkan, dia akan membantu pelajar-pelajar kita. Okey, memenuhi keperluan dan kehendak mereka. Okay, kalau tak boleh buat synchronous, kita asynchronouskan. Okay, asynchronouskan. Okay, semua dalam minggu tersebut. Kalau nak asynchronous ke semua sekali pun tidak ada masalah. Kenapa saya kata tak ada masalah? Kerana WhatsApp ni adalah synchronous. Okay, secara orang kata formal lah, dia akan menjadi asynchronous 3 jam. Tetapi kita masih ada synchronous dengan pelajar-pelajar kita iaitu WhatsApp atau Telegram. Yang mana apabila mereka bertanya soalan atau ada apa-apa permasalahan, kita terus akan beri feedback. Jadi gabungan synchronous dan asynchronous ni sangat penting dalam setiap minggu aktiviti pengajaran pembelajaran. Dengan syarat kita perlu tahu apakah profil pelajar kita. Okay, itu yang paling penting. So itulah sahaja daripada saya. Okey, pada workshop kali ini atau seminar pada kali ini yang mana saya tunjukkan demonstrasi untuk kita mereka bentuk dan juga alat-alat yang kita boleh gunakan. Okey, tetapi ini adalah template sahaja, tuan-puan boleh gunakan untuk template sendiri yang lebih mudah, yang lebih nampak apa yang kita perlu buat. Okey, jadi bila kita buat macam ni insya-Allah lagi memudahkan proses pengajaran dan pembelajaran kita dengan menggabungkan synchronous dan asynchronous dalam setiap aktiviti ataupun keseluruhan pengajaran kita sepanjang semester. Okey, itu sahaja daripada saya. InsyaAllah sekiranya berpeluang kita akan berjumpa lagi dan tuan-puan boleh hubungi saya lah seperti yang tertera di dalam video yang pertama yang mana saya letakkan profil saya tersebut. Okey, insyaAllah kita berjumpa lagi pada mungkin dalam event yang lain. Okay, ataupun ada yang berminat nak belajar di USM, silakan ke USM. InsyaAllah kita akan terus kepada pendidikan yang lebih advance, berteknologi. So itu saja daripada saya. InsyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jaga diri semua, stay safe dan stay healthy. Okay, bye.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wabihi nasta'in. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ishrah li sadri. ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I hope everyone is in the best of health. Alhamdulillah, in this seminar, I'm going to share with you regarding on topic urban farming and STEM education. Hopefully from this sharing will give us some insight about urban farming, its importance in STEM education, and hopefully will give benefit to all of us. The journey of my presentation would encompass few subtopics. The first one is introduction, and I'm going to talk on STEM education, followed with urban farming, integrating urban farming in STEM education, and small-scale home gardening, growing fig tree, the solution and way forward. And finally, I'm going to conclude the presentation. In the 21st century learning, educators now are focusing on the strengthen the 6 C's, which are communication, collaboration, creativity, critical character, and citizenship among students. So in order to achieve the 6 C's, we have to activate diversified cultural learning style of students in order to produce habit character of the students who are holistic, entrepreneurial, balanced, articulate, and have the thinking ability. According to Sorpers, Kohler, and Helen 2009, STEM education is an interdisciplinary approach to learning where rigorous academic concepts are coupled with real-world lessons as students apply science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in contexts that make connections between school, community, work, and the global enterprises, enabling the development of STEM literacy, and with it, the ability to compete in the new economy. Whereas, according to Waska, Kommer, and Snyder, it removes the traditional barriers separating the 4 disciplines of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but rather integrate them into real world, which is a rigorous and relevant learning experience for students. STEM education is not just an area of study, but in fact, is something deeper than that. STEM is a collaboration of teaching and learning activities that focuses on solving real-world problems. And it is aimed to equip students with a wide range of knowledge while focusing on problem solving, innovation, critical thinking, and creativity. Why venture in science educations? So among the reasons why we should promote and shift into this STEM educations is to improve the students' soft skills, because it promotes the group activities and group discussions. And by involving in this STEM education, actually, it promotes students to use the technology among younger generations for educational purposes. And the other reason is STEM education also could develop passion among students in STEM-related fields. Besides, provide the opportunity to dive in deeper into this amazing world of STEM as creator, inventor, rather than consumer, which involve engineering design. Urban farming, according to the United States Environmental Protections, EPA, is a part of a local food system where food is produced within an urban area and marketed to consumers within that area. It has been touted as a means to ensure food security in urban areas, but there are some barriers that may prevent it from being employed on a large enough scale. Dynamics of urban farming brings a significance which contribute by the fast growth of urban populations. In some developed countries like Japan and Singapore, the approaches of urban farming are inside of the buildings of residential, offices, or workplaces. Commercial and industrial lots at the city center were already begin to pop up and embedded. Farming knowledge can form an effective and good intervention for city dwellers to move uplift to better education and stand right at a higher degree of social cohesion. Urban farming can also include animal husbandry, example like breeding and raising livestock, chicken, goat, sheep, and also might include beekeeping, stingless bee, aquaculturals, example like fish farming, growing tilapia, catfish, sepat, puyu, and could also include aquaponics, which are the integrating fish farming and agricultural and non-food products such as producing seeds, cultivating seedling, and growing flowers. So first of all, let's look science in STEM urban farming. As we all know that science is the study of the nature and behavior of natural things and the knowledge that we obtain about that. So in this STEM urban farming, there are many concepts involved, for example, like photosynthesis, fertilizer, osmosis, food, water, transportations, concept of phylums, cambium, xylem, for example, xylem transport water and mineral salts from the roots up to other parts of the plant, whereas phloem transport sucrose and amino acids between the livers and other parts of the plants. Technology in STEM urban farming. Technology is comprised of the process and products created by engineers to meet our needs and wants, study of our human-made world, and deal with what can be. In this context, refer to application of science knowledge and sequence process of making the urban farming model in limited space to overcome shortage of foods. Like in this photo, you can see the structure of vertical self-watering systems. Engineering in urban farming. Engineering refers to the application of scientific, economic, social, and practical knowledge in order to invent, design, build, maintain, research, and improve structures, machine, devices, systems, materials, and processes. These urban farming projects enable the students to involve in engineering design processes, including troubleshoot malfunctions, research, ideate, analyze ideas, selecting the right materials, build, test, and refine, and communicate their ideas. Mathematics in STEM urban farming projects. Mathematics acts as a tool to provide structures, For example, function or equations, differential equations, and algorithms. This contributes to the precise formulations of physical laws and therefore allow calculating numerical results and hence quantitative predictions. Secondly, mathematics serve as a language communicative functions that scientists use in describing the world. Mathematics also provide possibilities that help in representing physical relationships in a simple and at the same time precise way. These representational means such as numbers, graph, algebraic forms, and geometrical objects contribute to its communicative role. Apart from STEM, there is also art in urban farming. The practice of artistic inquiry includes play, exploration, risk-taking, flexible thinking, and making inevitable mistakes. And these artistic processes are vital as they lead to problem-solving, perseverance through failure, and other ways to experience a series of attributes related to creative process. So through the artistical value, we can have a harmonic combinations of colors and creativity in making urban farming models. So apart from that, the aspect of marketability is considered so that the model could attract people impressions. This is a chili fertigation project in University Malaysia Sabah, Sandakan Sabah, where I was given opportunity to visit the campus during my sabbatical leave to studies about the fertigation's technology here. This is another example of a small-scale urban farming chili fertigation pilot project at Sekolah Menengah Datuk Haji Muhammad Noor Ahmad, KOLOKIUM Pinang. In this pilot project, there were about 500 chili trees were planted in the polybag using fertigation technology. During pandemic COVID-19, this young man growing vegetables as a home gardening and distributing the products to the communities freely. This is another example of small-scale home gardening, planting grapes by Wan Yusuf Abdul Rahman, who was a former graphic designer. Through his great passions in understanding the temperament of the crop, he was able to revive the vineyard in Kampung Boloka, Wakaf Baru, Kelantan. So according to him, he was able to harvest almost 100 kilograms grapes a month. With the growing importance of food self-sufficiency, now is the time for Malaysia to turn empty spaces into urban farms, tackling food security related issues besides making good use of the existing sites. Planting vegetables can be done through vertical hydroponic systems where limited spaces is required. The system also can be enhanced by combining the aquaponic farming, combining the growing of vegetables together with the growing of fish in the limited space. The problem is how we can integrate urban farming idea in STEM education. So this can be done actually by create a scenario or issue and try to relate to real life experience of the students and build teamwork and do some literature review by looking at the magazine or journals or interview with people who are involved in these projects, and try to design the engineering design the models and develop confidence through the hands-on inquiry and do the evaluation cycles to relook and to adjust, adapt the difficulties that happened, they're facing during the process. Scenario one, for example, like with a limited space in urban areas and the COVID-19 pandemic season hitting the country at the moment, in addition to the increase in population and high prices of goods, how can we produce food, vegetables or fruits for household use? So we can start with small scale, begins from ourselves, from the home experience, and do self-watering systems, simple vertical systems, simple hydroponic projects, simple aquaponic, simple fertigation system, and so on. This is example of designing self-watering system, planting a tree in a paint bucket. So what you need is to have a paint bucket, and you build holes on the lip of the bucket by using materials so like cocoa peat and also small baskets at the bottom of this bucket. And you can build two holes, the big ones, the cycle, and the small one, to insert the pipes in order to gauge the level of water in this bucket. And you dig overflow holes to maintain the level of waters in the reservoir. This is another example of self-watering systems, planting lima casturi and also onion using mineral water and cooking oil water. And this is the example of growing fig tree in a pot. Small-scale urban farming start from ourselves to build the confidence before we go to the big scale. So for the fig propagations can be done using technique of grafting, where we are combining the bud from a tree with the mother tree. The second way is to propagate fig by using stem cutting. This is a simple one. You just choose the good branch of the fig tree and cut it about 5 inches, and you need to add some root booster to encourage to boost the growing of the roots at the bottom of the stems. The third technique of fig propagation is through marcoting or air layering. So these techniques can be done through the understanding of the concept of food and water transportations in the stem of the tree. So the next video will show the technique of doing marcoting. This is an example of the self-watering system, planting a fig tree in a bucket, where you see the water flowing at the bottom of this bucket from the overflow outlet. And this pipe is actually to gauge the level of water in this bucket. And when it's raining or when you're watering too much of water, so when the water is above the reserve levels, it will overflow. And by using this self-watering system, you can, leave this tree without watering for 2 weeks when you go for outstations.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. This is the product of urban farming project, growing fig tree in a pot. And as you see here, this tree is about 1 year old, and now it starts fruiting. You can see a lot of fruits coming, and inshallah, this tree will be transported to Nigeria by one of our PhD students studying here, Dr. Ibrahim Libata, to Nigeria, inshallah. Hopefully, this tree will grow well in Nigeria. Now I'm start removing the soil from this fig tree so that we can only preserve the roots. Okay? Because as I said, this fig tree is going to be transported to Nigeria. So we need to make sure that the root is good and there's not many soils remain in this tree. Okay, see now, it's the root of the tree, the stem, and also the branches. And inshallah, we're going to cover it and can inshallah be ready to be packed and put in the bag to Nigeria, inshallah. Okay.
This is just the beginning. I just dug a hole where I'm going to plant the tin tree. That was actually brought in all the way from Malaysia. So I dug the hole and put some manure and some water. So I'm going to plant the tree. So Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is a tin tree taken from Malaysia. So والتين والزيتون والطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل السافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون وما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. So inshallah, this tree is going to be planted, and hopefully the tree will grow and make some fruit for the family and ummah, inshallah. Yes.
Alhamdulillah, the fig tree planted in the Kebbi State, Nigeria is now growing healthy. Alhamdulillah. Urban farming projects will give us opportunity to transfer what we learn in the classrooms, in the campus, universities, into a practice where we can tap into growing local food trends. And by having this urban farming also, can boost the local economy and can create edible landscapes. Apart from that, this urban farming project also can promote healthy communities and can green our city through sustainable development. So as a resolution and way forward, we as educators need to turn our what we learn in theories into smart practices, and we need to change the paradigm of thoughts and act according to the context as a good character. And we need to see the problems, the complexities as opportunity for us to apply knowledge and skills in creating innovative STEM products. It's like discussing about the urban farming. This is an opportunity for us to expand the ideas to our students, and always look at the SWOT analysis, analyze our strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat around us, so that we can move forward by practicing the grow approach, by determining our goals and be realistic with our situations and look into possible options, and finally choose the best means, ways to move ahead, and start small to build the confidence. And by having this confidence, we can venture into future prospectus projects. As a conclusion for this sharing, we as educators need to continue doing the lifelong learning. So there are 5 types of lifelong learning. The first one is we need to always learn new things. The second one is we need to relearn. Sometimes what we learned before, it is not correct. And so we need to look into the best practices. And the third one is unlearn, meaning that we need to leave all the bad ideas, bad practices that will not give benefits or not dynamics to the future situations. And the fourth one is we need to learn together with our colleagues, with other peoples, to gain new knowledge, skills, and ideas. And finally, we need to co-create together, creating something, ideas, innovation projects, so that it will be benefit not only for ourselves, but also for future generations. That's the end of my journey. I wish you get some things from the sharing. Hopefully we are together in inspiring our students to get involved in STEM career and practicing STEMs in our daily life. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you again in the coming seminars.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everybody. I am Dr. Nur Asniza Isha. I am from School of Educational Studies. What I'm going to do today is that I'm going to give you a talk about inquiry-based learning in science with the integration of technology using 5E learning cycle. So hope you enjoy listening to my talk today. Right, before I begin with the explanations of inquiry-based using technology and 5E learning cycle, I would like to take quote from Dewi 1910, where it said that science teaching has suffered because science has been so frequently presented just as so much ready-made knowledge, so much subject matter of fact and law, rather than as the effective method of inquiry into any subject matter. And as a teacher, we should notice that whether our students manage to learn science or not by looking at the characteristic of the inquiry among them. So for me, it's very crucial when we do teaching and learning science, we must make sure that the students participate in our classroom through inquiry learning. So what is actually inquiry? Inquiry is a dynamic approach to learning that involves exploring the world, asking questions, making discoveries, and rigorously testing those discoveries in the search for new understandings. So if you look at the concept of inquiry, it is highly related with science because this is the nature of science where whenever we involve with the learning process of science, we need to explore the world. We need to ask questions. And of course, when we explore and we ask questions, we make discoveries and test those discoveries in the search of new understanding. And only then we can understand what is actually science. And this is something that we should do in our science classroom. So why is it inquiry is so important in doing or in our science classroom? So within a conceptual framework, inquiry learning and active learner involvement can lead to important outcome in the classroom. We know that. Yeah, we know that when we involve inquiry learning in our classroom, it will involve an active learning and involvement among our students. And by doing this, yeah, students will actively make observation, collect data, analyze the data, and synthesize information and draw a conclusion. They are developing useful problem-solving skills. Like I said before, what does it mean by inquiry? Inquiry is about you explore, you discover. And when you explore and you discover, you keep testing. Yeah? And this will enhance the problem-solving skills. And this skill can be applied to future need-to-know situations that students will encounter both at school and at work. So perhaps when they are doing an active learning through inquiry learning, whatever skill